millions as far as like the handful at the tippy top. Yeah, they're doing fine. They're doing good, but that means the market has shrunk. There used to be a market for just like a million of these channels everywhere you look. Now that market no longer exists. There's only a market for like a handful of the king daddies up top, right? Like Critical Drinker,
Nerdrotic, Geeks and Gamers, those guys. Yeah.
So like as far as it being YouTube being friendly to this culture the way that it used to be, it's not even close. If you've been around for a few years, you can tell. Like I don't know, what do you think, Ant? You see a difference, right?
Yes. So my brain, I'm still it took a second to get everything hooked up here, so I'm still catching up mentally. I just jumped up from the day job over here, so I'm still like, mind go burr. But yeah, no, there's been a huge change, I'd say, in the last like, I could say year or two. I think honestly, what a big thing also would be, I think the fact that they won the election. You know,
yeah.
I think.
Yes.
Well, what's the line from The Dark Knight Rises? Victory has defeated you, or something like that. I think that's very true for a lot of these guys. Like they were riding high. They were doing all this stuff, and then
they were counterculture. They wanted to be counter what they considered to be the people in charge. Now they are the people in charge. It's no longer cool anymore, and they're back on the other side now. So
100%.
I mean, how do you figure, like that's pretty sad that you're giving up and that you also don't have an accurate read of what's going on.
I mean, was Terra Story, was this your opinion when supposedly the wokeness was winning, that all the people that were anti-woke should just give up and they were all coping? If you don't feel like that was also cope, then you're just making a stupid statement.
I mean, yeah, it's you gotta check your doomerism, right? Like and make sure that you're not in some kind of algorithmic silo where you're just seeing nothing but this content, and then
I love that. Algorithmic silo. That's great.
But yeah, so I guess real quick, because it's not really like that big of a story, we can lead into talking about Captain America and whatever MCU stuff. But like, I wanted to show this video that Bob and I we were looking at Nerdrotic stuff output about Captain America 4 yesterday, and happened to see this one listed. And I was like, oh shit, that is you guys can tell me if you think so too. Like there's parentheses, putting parentheses around something in your video title. And then there's putting triple parentheses around it in your video title.
How about no? Okay, I was trying to view what that said there. Oh my goodness.
Why is Captain America 4 in parentheses? Are they saying that's not the real title of the movie? Or I don't understand.
Well, no, it's got it in quotes, Captain America 4, but then this is...
Oh, I see, yeah. I'm sorry, it's tiny on my screen.
And yeah, it's kind of hard to read as well. And so they do that for I think that's done for SEO purposes to like emphasize something to make it like important, but it's not really going to help on a YouTube title. Like I've done a little studying of SEO before, and it's
triple parentheses is a thing to do for that.
It's a thing to do in AI. Essentially,
that's true. That is true. Yeah,
because I mean, to me, what I see is like, oh, they're JQ echo posting, right? Like, and especially whenever it's Nerdrotic, I can't help but my mind goes there. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's doing just JQ shit. Because if you're not familiar, on the internet for several years now, a decade or so at least, triple parentheses or more is like what you do, or what Nazis do, rather, not what you do, hopefully, whenever they're trying to imply the Jews or Jewish question.
That's a thing?
Yeah, I had never heard of it till Dave brought it up, and now I'm
feel crazy right now. I'm gonna have to look it up and show you guys. Hold on a second.
I believe it. I believe it's a thing. I just never heard of it. I've never heard that before. That's
so it's apparently then it's a dog whistle, because if we didn't know about it, it's only like people in the know get it.
100%. Okay, it's on Wikipedia right here. Look,
oh my god.
Triple parentheses or triple brackets or an echo, often referred to in print as an echo, are an anti-Semitic symbol that is used to highlight of individuals thought to be Jews and the names of organizations thought to be owned by Jews. This originated in the alt-right affiliated neo-Nazi.
This is another rabbit hole. This is going to be a rabbit hole.
And considering the fact that it's a Disney product, B, Captain America 4, which had the whole controversy with Sombra before this, and 3, just the audience he attracts in general, that is horrible. That is multiple layers of screwed up. I had no idea.
Yeah,
well, I feel like what I was thinking was it kind of implies great replacement theory, because the whole great replacement is that the Jews are replacing. This is the fucking bullshit racist narrative, by the way. The Jews are replacing white people with black people, and whatever. And like then you've got a movie where they've replaced a white guy with a black guy, right? Captain America is Steve Rogers in that parentheses. To me, says it's just. I mean, maybe it's a stretch, but it seems to be doing JQ via.
Well, I don't know if that. I mean, the triple bracket seems like it's a weird mistake or thing for them to do that if it wasn't intentional. Like, why would you do that?
Gary is definitely tuned into the extreme right-wing ecosphere. I mean, I brought up yesterday how he always used Tom Hanks in his thumbnails, and Tom Hanks is not somebody commonly known for like nerd media.
No, but
he usually does like academy stuff.
Wow, we got 227 people watching. Please like and subscribe wherever you're watching.
I think a buddy of mine just rated my stream of it. No, this is a multiple layers of screwed up. I'm seeing a super chat on my end. I'll just read that aloud. Hey, Angela Gaming, how you doing?
Fix this so that your face isn't covered up here.
Oh my goodness, that is. I thought it was like an AI thing, because like an AI inputs. If you put like multiple parentheses around it, you can like emphasize something as like heavy emphasis. Do this. Some Google searches have that. I thought it was like a digital thing. I didn't realize it was a Nazi dog whistle.
I mean, it might not be, but I mean, given who we're talking about, given the fact that that's literally the content, that's what his content serves the purpose of is far right, extreme right in some cases, agendas. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past him, but he apparently had death in the family, so I don't care.
Oh, we super chat over my end here for Anthony. Hey, Anthony, I became aware of you from the Shad Superman drama. Keep up the good work.
Oh, thank you so much. It is something. I'll tell you that.
I sat through that this morning. I watched the whole thing because I've been watching it bits and pieces. I finally finished it this morning, and I was like, "Holy shit!" The rabbit hole that became as I started watching those videos. It's
insane. Crazy. It's really nutty. Like it's kind of crazy. I don't want to like hijack the whole conversation going into that because I could.
No, I want to talk about it because I've got these images here you shared that are like comments that were deleted. Maybe is that what this is?
Yes. So what that was, I didn't collect this. I didn't make the image. Those are comments that the subreddit Shadwatch user on there put together.
Oh dear.
These are all comments that Shad deleted from his response to my response to his response to my response to his response to the Superman trailer. So these are all different comments, and there's 3 pages of these, and this is just all that the Redditor had spotted. There's a possibility there's much more, or have become more since this was posted. But this essentially is a collection of comments of varying negative extremes. Some of them are way harsher than. I sent this also to Sai, who rated my stream. Hi, if you're from Sai's stream, thanks you so much. I also sent this to a couple other people I know are covering this drama as well, so they could like have a full. And whether or not they use it, who knows? But like, it's absolutely wild to me because some of these comments are harsh.
Yeah.
And some of them are very mild, but he deleted all of them all the same.
Well, yeah, I mean, wow. Wow.
So he's paying someone, or at least has someone on his staff going through and just deleting comments. Then that's essentially what's going on here.
I think he's doing it personally.
Oh, you think so?
I think he's reading them all and like, because he seems like the kind of person who would, you know what I mean? Like he seems like the kind of person who would. And I read every comment too. Like I try to read everything. I don't always respond to everything, but I like to respond, I like to engage, I like to talk. And it takes like 5 seconds to respond to a comment sometimes. It doesn't take much time. But I like to engage with it because it's fun and just like the conversation of the YouTube. I think he genuinely is responding. I just think it's what he's clearly engaging with is not that great.
Yeah.
I unfortunately didn't get to watch the whole most recent thing, but I did get to the part where he goes, here's Vosh, here's Hassan, now Anthony.
Yeah. Like, and I don't even watch Vosh. That's wild to me. I haven't watched him ever. I've never seen a Vosh.
I've only seen clips of Vosh. I've never watched a Vosh stream. I've only seen clips of him.
Everything I've learned about Vosh has been against my will. I've never watched a Vosh stream. I've only seen clips of him, and I don't
Like
know if I
Horse
don't know if I'd
Gate?
agree with him. What? Yeah, I don't know. Horse Gate, exactly. Like, I don't know if I'd agree with him or not. I've never watched him. I couldn't tell you what his opinions are on anything.
Isn't Vosh one of those like early quote unquote bread tuber guy? Like, isn't that what he was listed as? Like a bread tuber?
Yeah. I mean, so he was like a hybrid. He kind of, after BreadTube and the initial BreadTube wave, he was more like one of the guys that came out that was willing to engage in debate with Nazis and whatnot. But he's got some problems. But I mean, so just the whole point that Shad was attempting to make, very bad faith, was, well, Vosh believes in, the ends justify the means, no matter what, and therefore Anthony believes in that, or something like that, and it was insane.
Which is wild. I mean, his thing also, personally, I like to conduct myself respectfully with people, Like, if someone's being, like, an asshole, I'll treat them like an asshole. But, like, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt first. I think that there's certain things that the ends do justify the means. Like, with any topic, There's certain causes that are so desperate that, yeah, you have to... But, like... I would never, but to say that every end must have the most extreme, no, do the rational thing first, Like, what's the language, what's the MLK quote that a riot is the language of the unheard, right?
Yes.
If someone is unheard and desperate and they have on all the avenues that they are supposed to and they still can't be told, they react extremely. I don't think that's the way you should, but, like, sometimes, what else? Sometimes you can only yell and scream so much before you have to kick the door down so someone can hear you.
One of those comments seemed to be referring to the fact that now his Night's Watch culture shit is now bleeding over into his actual Shadiversity channel. And I guess that he was because he's made several videos where he's like, and look at my algorithm, and they've blacklisted me, and like he's done all these videos about his main channel, but he's always ignored sort of the fact that his Night Watch channel has always performed better because of the culture war shit. So now I guess he's decided that the best course of action for him is to combine all of that across two channels, which is going to ultimately push his Shadiversity channel even further down in the algorithm. So
I agree. Well, I think the thing also is Shad originally posted his Superman React trailer on his Night's Watch channel, right? So I responded with my main channel, which has about 100,000 subscribers fewer than he does, over 100,000, I think. And I ratioed him with the first response. So then he responded to my response on the Night Watch channel. And he still didn't get as many views as my initial reaction did, but I responded with Sai. We both watched it together on stream. And it was like a 7-hour stream. It was a lot of people showed up, but I don't really feel comfortable having that be like the main way you consume the narrative. Because I get off topic a lot.
I was going to say that's almost EFAP levels right there.
It is. It is just as long as the EFAP episode about my YouTube video. The difference is my YouTube video was 45 minutes, whereas Shad's video was 2 hours and 9 minutes.
Oh,
we all went off topic a lot. We really editing that down to 3.5 hours. There's so many parts where I'm like, yeah, I can just cut out this whole half-hour diatribe right here. You can go cut this out.
We did have a super chat here for you,
cool.
from Jack here on your channel. Do you think Hollywood will be affected when telling diverse stories of people of color and queer characters, vice versa? I honestly hope not.
Are you referring? I think you're referring to the political movements right now, and I do have some. I've a mixed answer. It's not an optimistic one, but it's also not a pessimistic one. I think Hollywood will be affected because Hollywood will bend the knee. Now, here's where I think things will be a little dicey, though. Hollywood is famously driven by money, by the dollar. They want to sell. And regardless of what the United States government says, there is an audience for all different types of media, and they know that. They would never have put, like, back in the 70s, they did the whole blaxploitation thing because black audiences wanted to see movies about black people. Shocking, I know. The reason why so many gay movies exist now is because there's an audience that wants to see queer media. And so you're going to see, I think, more than anything else, is the safe option, the Disney-fied. We still accept you guys. Please buy our buy our movie tickets, come show up, you know. But they're gonna do it in a safe way where they feel like they're not stepping on any toes, which is weak and lame and rainbow capitalism at its finest.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the thing.
You go, Bob. Sorry.
I was just gonna say the thing to keep in mind is yes, the studio heads, all them, they're bending the knee. Absolutely, they don't care. You will have artists and directors and actors and writers and producers. They do care. They're far less likely to bend the knee, and if they bend the knee, you know where they stand. You know
exactly.
Well, that's what I said. I think I did a short about this. Maybe I've made so many videos the last few days. So I think what we're gonna see personally is that anybody who was actually invested in making diverse stories will continue to do so even without DEI being a factor. And then you're going to see the ones that were participating in like some form of capitalism, whether it's rainbow capitalism or any other marginalized group they're capitalizing off them or pandering to them, that will go away. And then it'll be very obvious for us which companies gave a shit, which ones didn't give a shit, and what side they land on all of this. Now, for me personally, I feel like rainbow capitalism, as long as it is allowing people to put out products that are helpful to the community, I don't personally care how many executives are getting checks off of it, because as long as it's not actively harming the communities that they're working on, that's fine. But you have to understand that's what it is. Yeah. That's the thing. You have to understand what they're doing. For me personally, what I love about this is if they do pull back on this stuff, we're going to see more grassroots or like creators and organizers making content, making media, selling items, things like that in the community like they were doing before. But it does sort of suck that we have to deal with Hollywood bending the knee, personally. So,
all right. So this is what you're going to see more of. This. You're going to see a lot more of this. This is...
Yes.
Tony Kushner's Angels in America.
Yeah.
This is one of the greatest... I don't think it was on Broadway, but it was like a stage play, essentially, in 2 parts. It was one of the greatest works of fiction, I think, of the 90s. It was a... production about the AIDS crisis, but also a tribute to the epic cycles of old. You are going to see more stuff like this. Stuff that's underground, stuff that is not given a massive budget, but is profound and painful and agonizing and hurtful and... Oh, I did my name. I realize it's from the Thanksgiving.
I would say that on the upside to this, if you want to flip it off on its head and say like what could be a positive out of all of this, is I think you could see a renaissance of actual diverse voices being in media instead of like mandated DEI stuff that we see in like Buzz Lightyear, things like that. Which I don't have a problem with that stuff, but it is basically just throwing crumbs to people in marginalized communities. I think what we're going to see is like maybe A24 studios like that go, hey, we're going to give a queer director or a woman or a person of color the ability to put out something really profound while the next 2 to 4 years is happening. And hopefully we get some really solid art out of that. I would really love that, honestly.
You may also get a lot like...
I tend to agree with this take. Lucifer Writing's got it right here, I think. It might be harder to find more, rebellious, I suppose, woke, for lack of a better word, content, but it'll be there.
I actually think that it might be less tokenized. You won't see like throwing a character in just for brownie points anymore. So they're either going to be there for a purpose.
That's what we'll see outside of corporate structures, but then what Bob says here will be what we'll see in the corporate structures, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a little more cynical about this than you guys are.
Okay.
I think we're going to see a lot of studios completely bend the knee. We're going to see a lot of people who will act like this is a big... They'll be brave, but we're going to see a lot of celebrities who just will disappear from public image. Not to use Ellen DeGeneres as a positive here, but during the 90s when she came out as a lesbian, she was almost unpersoned in the public limelight. Now, Ellen, of course, we know what you know about her now. She's not a great person. Really cruddy reputation, obviously.
Right.
But she wasn't canceled because she was a crappy person. She was canceled because she was a lesbian. And what you're going to see is actresses like Hunter Schafer and or actors like Elliot Page. You're going to see them get restricted. Now, all of them are being targeted by big studios. I read that Hunter Schafer was being looked at by Disney for the role of Mystique. No idea how credible that rumor is. It could be nothing, could be something, who knows?
I heard that rumor as well.
Yeah. I mean, it could be something. I would love that. Be good casting, but we don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Great actress. Could be Elliot Page. He's going to be in The Odyssey with Christopher Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he was just cast recently, so he'll still get stuff. Those people will still get the roles, but you're going to see a lot of trans actors who are not established, who are not well established, not get their breakthrough performances. It's only going to be people who are established prior to this period who get roles. And that's going to be really bad. You're going to see all these trans actors who are obviously well established trying to push for more people to get roles because they know that the effort, the struggle, they get it. But the studios outside of indie films aren't going to see it. Now, A24, they might do it, but they've already been doing that. So there'll be no real change in output for A24. And keep in mind, A24, they release stuff like Moonlight. They released some really heavy stuff that people also didn't watch. Moonlight is an amazing film. Did half the people watching this stream watch it? I don't think so. And if you did watch it, good. But I can guarantee you 2/3 of everyone here didn't see Moonlight. And you should. After the stream, watch Moonlight. It's a fantastic movie. But these art house films, these more dramatic films, these less serious they're not blockbusters. They don't have massive universal appeal. You'll still get your David Cronenbergs. You'll still get your David Lynches. They'll still make films that no one's going to watch in terms of the bigger audience outside of like the film enthusiasts. And that's not going to hit the people that need to hear it the most. That's my fear. And say what you will about blockbusters, say what you will about like being dumb action films. They got an audience.
That's why I never completely dismiss any form of capitalism when it comes to marginalized communities, because it's the only way some of these bigger movies will ever accept marginalized people is by putting money in the equation, somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And again, as long as they're not making a mockery of a marginalized community, I don't care too much about that because I understand how capitalism works. Being part of so many different queer organizations since the 90s, I have seen how money changes things. Our local pride committee has had controversies about like large donors and things like that coming in and sort of taking over the grassroots efforts of a lot of people. And so, Hollywood is like, I agree kind of with what you're saying, and as well as some of the other comments made and stuff in the chat. But I would like to think that for me, what I'm looking for is who is a true player and who is playing us. That's what I'm going to be looking for. So, and
what sucks the most is that you're going to get creators who work within the system who are going to get screwed. Disney, especially. You look at Alex Hirsch. Alex Hirsch, when he was working with Disney, he pushed hard to get some queer stuff in Gravity Falls, but was undercut at every single turn. You look at N.K. Stevenson, who, and it's funny, when I was in my master's classes, my professor there, he was one of the voters for the National Book Award when Nimona was when Nimona ultimately won. So I was reading this comic because he had all these books. He was like, "Oh, we get all the books for the National Book Award, all the nominees." I was reading Nimona with the guy who helped vote for it to get to win the award, and I knew it was a masterpiece. I knew it was fantastic. I knew Disney would never make a movie about it. It couldn't be Disney. And the moment that Disney bought the rights to the book, when they bought out Blue Sky and bought out Fox, tossed it right out. And then being an Oscar nominee. So you're going to get stuff that like the critics and like Hollywood will be, "Oh, we love this film. It's so amazing. It's so brave." But then the studios never give it money.
Right.
It's always going to be like, they're going to celebrate it once it's a success. But before that, it's not going to be. And you look at what's going on with Amelia Perez, that film is terrible. It's genuinely awful. But because it's about Mexico and because it's about a trans main character, Hollywood's celebrating it, even though the film is terrible, even though it's inauthentic to both the trans and Mexican experience, doesn't matter.
If you want a reason to not take the Oscars seriously, it got more Oscar nominations than any other movie this year.
Although I will say this, I'm happy the substance is getting celebrated by the Oscars. I'm being serious.
Really want to see
I love Substance. I love it. I mean,
amazing.
It's great. Yeah.
Horror is always undercut. And I saw the TV Glow. If you haven't seen I Saw the TV Glow, watch I Saw the TV Glow. It is a fantastic film. The trans horror community has embraced it. Outside of that, it's not really getting a lot of attention.
It's doing well because it's an anti-trans movie.
Wait, which one? Amelia Perez?
Perez.
I thought you said I Saw TV Glow was anti-trans. Like,
Amelia Perez is masquerading as a pro movie, but it's really not. It's got some pretty fucking shitty messages.
It could be a Daily Wire movie, honestly.
Yeah.
And look, here's the thing. I'm not trans. I'm obviously not trans, so I can't speak to the same way that a trans person would want. And Jessie Gender did a really good video on it that she got. Yeah, there you go. See right there. Comment right there mentioned it. Jessie Gender posted a video on it, and Netflix tried to censor the video because the video mentioned tweets that the lead actress had posted, not Zoe Saldana, the other that have been or Islamophobic.
Selena Gomez?
What? No. The trans actress whose name.
I forget her name. Yeah.
I just don't know her name off the top of my head.
Yes, I saw that clip in the Jessie Gender video, and I really kind of want to watch that that parody where they're all like, it's about what is it? It's a Mexican movie about France, about French people, but it's doesn't have any French people in it, and
it's a French director, Mexican film. None of the actors speak Mexican.
Yeah, I'm talking about there's actually a parody of it though. That is
I love
made by French people doing a movie about Mexicans, or sorry, Mexican people doing a movie about French people. They all have like little mustaches and stuff, and they're all wearing berets and shit. It's fucking.
I love it. That's great. That's great. I miss the days we used to have like the porn parodies of all these films. You go to the the row of, and it wouldn't even, you would never even watch them. You just look at the title. That was the fun.
The covers and the cover art, the titles are always the best.
That was the fun. Nowadays, everything is so algorithmically designed. You can't even look at the covers of those DVDs and go like, I know what this movie's about. I don't need to see it. Exactly what it's going to do though.
Oh goodness!
Like, who is eating Gilbert Grape? That's a real question.
Oh.
I used to have a pretty lame joke response to that back when I was young, but I'm not going to do it now.
That's it.
So, hey, they're not going to. They're actually making stupid choices that are going to are actively making prices go up. It's going to be fun.
I mean, okay, so my partner does like Etsy stuff. And a lot of the materials and things that he needs for Etsy have to be shipped internationally. And he just found out today that apparently all of the places that he was ordering from travel through China to get here, even if they're not made in China. And those are all getting stopped by USPS now and cannot get delivered. So it's like all of these things that they're doing are actively hurting the small businesses in this country and leading the way for companies like Amazon and Walmart and all these other places to basically run the entire ecosystem. And the fact that we were saying this from the beginning and none of them were listening to us, it's just so frustrating.
Well, the problem hey, at least we got cheap eggs now. Oh, wait a minute. Right. Wait a minute.
Oh yeah, all the bird flu eggs are selling off the shelves. It's fantastic.
So yeah, this was something I was thinking about. Was I want to see what James Gunn is able to do going forward. You know what I mean? When you look at like some of the stuff in Creature Commandos that is pretty explicitly against a lot of.
It's going to be a battle because he's the head of that division up against like the CEO of the company. So it's going to be.
I'm sorry, this is the wrong game. I meant to do this one. That's the one.
Well, the Authority movie has supposedly been changed to an animated movie, and that's not even in pre-production right now. So
I think James Gunn will probably James Gunn will probably push for it to be more left-leaning. James Gunn, I've said it before, he's not a leftist, but he is way more left than he was when he was younger.
Yeah.
In part because shockingly, a man experiences the world slightly differently, learns from experiences as he learns more, and changes political outlook. It's crazy how that happens sometimes.
Huh.
But also, he was attacked by all the right-wing alt-right people. He's not gonna run into their arms to be accepted by them because he knows what they're gonna do. Right. He's not an idiot. He knows, he gets it enough. And I don't think he's going to ever go like full blown like democratic socialism or anything like that. But I do think that what you're going to see is he is going to probably push for a little more diversity, a little bit. I don't think you're going to get like anything super that rocks the boat, but you're going to get stuff that says Nazis are bad. Right. I think is a fair point.
So GI Robot
and the usual suspects will complain about it.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I mean,
they're getting this. The Sergeant Rock movie is coming out, and GI Robot is in that movie. So,
and it's being directed by Lucia. I forget his name. Luca Guatemala. What's his name? Who did Bones and All, and did the recent Gay or Queer movie Queer? I think it was with Daniel Craig.
With Daniel Craig. Yeah,
I've not seen it. I've heard it's fantastic.
Great movie.
I've heard it's great. I haven't seen it yet. I want to though.
If you're equating CNN and a corporation like that with the culture, you've got a real fucking weird idea of what culture is and should be.
CNN is not a left-leaning news source. No. It is a central-leaning news source.
Which is why it was so weird that people kept accusing progressive people of only listening to CNN. And I'm like, do you watch CNN? It's not literally this like leftist propaganda. There is no true like leftist propaganda news outlet at the level of CNN. It just doesn't exist.
The other problem is that a lot of supposedly leftist media outlets turn out to be very right wing when you push them on a certain topic. Like
Young Turks is a good example. Yeah,
great example. I remember working a job with a guy, and he would always say, because I would always say like Fox News is garbage, Tucker Carlson's garbage. I wouldn't like talk too much politics at work, but I would say I wouldn't. Everyone knew where I leaned, and this guy was very right wing. And he was saying, well, what if I made fun of Young Turks? I'm like, I don't give a shit. Go for it. I don't watch Young Turks. What are you talking about? And this is before all the stuff where it turned out they were like really like on certain topics, especially where
you got let's see, at least one super chat here.
Yeah, I did see that.
Here we go.
Hola.
No good Irish heroes. No, that's not true. There's Isn't like Matt Murdock Irish?
Yeah.
There you go, Matt Murdock. Good Catholic boy. I'm sure the Irish would not have a problem with the.
And I would say that Daredevil, at least in more modern times, is one of the bigger Marvel characters because of all of the media that he's been getting.
True.
So.
100%. I think Daredevil. Here's something too. I got a comment this before a while back. I did a video on Nightcrawler, and. I analyzed it from the perspective of making a well-written Catholic character, because Nightcrawler is such a well-written character. I love Nightcrawler.
He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, easily one of my favorites. I think that he exemplifies all the traits you typically associate with the idealistic Catholic. He is forgiving. He deals with a lot of guilt. But he still tries to use that guilt to be a better person from all that. He's very understanding. He turns the other cheek when someone hurts him. From the Catholic doctrine in paper, he's perfect. But he also looks like a demon. That contrast is intentional. It's designed. And I just thought it was really good representation of a Catholic as they should be. I think the problem is most Catholics do not live up to that ideal. What's the phrase? I love your Christ, but I hate your Christians. Is that the old quote?
Right. Yeah.
It's like most people who proclaim to be part of a religion do not actually embody the themes of that religion. But he really does. But Nightcrawler, I love the way he's written. I love the way he's created. I love what he represents, and that's a great example of a Catholic. In modern media, people act like there has to be like you can't write a Catholic nowadays. You can't write a white American man,
a scumbag from northern Dublin who gets bitten by a radioactive chicken roll and becomes Bionic Superman.
Well, the best Irish.
Hey, create it, man. Fucking write it. Put it in a comic. The best
Irish film is Grabbers. It's where aliens crash land on in Ireland, and they try to harvest all the people. But oh no. The aliens are allergic to alcohol. Their systems can't process alcohol. And so all the Irish people go, okay, we got this. We're going to go to the local pub and get drunk as shit. And the aliens can't kill us because we'll be too drunk for them to eat. And the whole movie is about them staying as drunk as possible as the aliens have to starve the aliens out. It's amazing. It's a great.
That sounds hilarious.
Oh, it's great. It's absolutely fantastic.
That's funny.
Perfect
That's funny
film.
cope right there, man. Yeah.
Trump
Yeah, I mean,
respected. What kind of comment is that?
Yeah, the most he's Scottish, but he's also British and also American, I think. It's hard to tell.
Okay, actually, the best Irish film, all joking aside, that I can think of off the top of my head, and I'll think of 50 more afterwards. I'm seeing some comments being offended by it. I mentioned Grabbers. Banshees of Inisherin, I think, is really good. That's a legitimately great film. And it's about the history of Ireland. It's about the divide between brothers. It's about the divide between friends. That's a legitimately great Irish film. But Grabbers is a lot of fun in a different way. Sure, one got the Oscar nominations, but what would you rather watch on a Friday night with friends? Banshees of Inisherin or Grabbers?
So Grabbers got the Oscar nomination?
No, it did not.
Oh, no.
Shockingly.
God, I misread
Shockingly.
that completely.
True. And hey, global, basically everybody else doesn't respect him either. So, cope.
Mm.
Right.
Oh, is it the guy who? Hey, which user was that just now? What time is left?
That was.
That's the guy who was trolling in my comments last time I streamed.
Oh,
he's a fan of Shad.
So far, pretty bad.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Shad has fans.
He has a lot of fans. He has a lot of fans. He was telling me I had to respond to Shadiversity's response to my response to his response to my response.
He didn't say anything new. He just like coped and fucking lied the whole time, from what I saw.
He didn't even lie.
He's like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Literally after he just said it. It's like
this fucking moron.
Yeah.
Oh man, he said the R word I think about 10 to 15 times.
Oh, you know,
in that range about me, and I'm like, okay, well, what are you gonna do?
The rest of the world's clowning on Trump while eating cheap eggs. Fuck you, Ryan.
Yeah, yes, I'm seeing Cy in the comments right there. Yeah, you talked about me for like 30. It showed 30 seconds of my video. It's like, Ant is a liar. He's a dirtbag. He's a scoundrel. He is the worst. And like, he didn't say anything. Like, there's nothing to respond to.
I also want to point out that the fact that is their response to people that are criticizing them tells me that they know something is going on. They're not seeing the numbers because they need the conflict. They need that conflict to drive numbers up on their channels. So
well, that's the thing also too, like he posted his final response on his main channel with over 1.6 million subscribers. That's a lot. Oh yeah, there you go, Cy. There you go, Cy. Cy was with me as we reacted for 7 hours. It is Cy went through a lot.
Damn,
we went through a lot.
I think we're being brigaded by like half a dozen of Shad's biggest fans or something.
That's possible. It's possible. I let them debate. Listen, any question. If you're a fan of Shad, I will happily engage with your argument. If you have a comment that you think is like, want to ask me, I'll respond to it, and I'll give you a half-assed response.
So to change the subject just a little bit here, Bob, I found an unused, as far as I'd seen, there's a handful of clips from your debate with Eric July that go around, and I take full credit for all of it. But there's one in a new video that I just saw earlier that I hadn't seen this part of the debate used before. So
okay,
yeah, it's from JJ Trujillo. I can't say Spanish J's. About Critical Drinker and your boy Zach fighting. I'm not sure how.
Meyer?
Yeah.
Oh God, I haven't thought of him in years or months. In this case, I think I referenced him recently.
Oh, there's still no audio.
Yeah, I can't hear it.
I'm just looking at Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, yeah, you can't hear it. My bad.
All I can hear.
Your boy Zach has been on a roller coaster of opinions about stuff that's happening right now.
The fact he was still commenting, on video games, comic books, and movies. He stopped doing that after the release of Black Widow. Let's take a quick look at Eric July after he was confronted for not consuming new media and basically being media illiterate while trying to position himself as a critic.
Okay, so I have another question for you. So, again on Twitter, because your tweets are really fascinating. You talk about like comic books and media on your channel all the time, but apparently you haven't watched or read any of them since Black Widow. So can I ask you how you engage with them?
I forgot how goddamn dumb his response to this is.
Yeah, this is great. I forgot about this one too. And I watched this shit live.
What do you engage with who?
What the topics you talk so on your channel you talk about movies and comic books a lot, but you aren't watching them. What's the deal? Why should we listen to you?
Well, there's no, I don't have to explain to you because you're not like a supporter of mine or by any means. So I don't know who you're referring to. So I will answer by saying you don't have to listen.
Well, what if I wanted to be a fan? But I'm like, wait, he doesn't watch this stuff. Why would I listen to him?
Correct.
So why would I
opinion.
listen to you?
You don't have to. You don't have to listen to me.
Oh my god. All right, so my audience may not know who this guy is. Can I explain who Eric July is real quick to my audience? Because I'm not sure all of them know who.
Okay, yeah,
Sure,
go ahead.
Please do.
Because I know some of y'all are watching. Eric July is would you say he works for Blaze Media, so under Glenn Beck. He decided to pivot to comics after his career as a musician didn't pan out quite well. And he had warehouses full of his comic he made himself, filled with single panel, like what should be a panel on a comic to like
Splash page, yeah.
It's a splash page in theory, but really it should have been a panel on like the back, like a small panel of an insert panel on a page. He wasted people's money. He charged massive amounts of money for these cheaply made comics.
And the important context here is that for years before he did this, he on his YouTube channel just every day puts out videos, making at best bad faith analysis of Marvel and DC, mainly Marvel, but mainstream comics, but then a lot of times just lying about comics. And so he built this audience on the idea that he's an expert. Here's what the mainstream's doing wrong. They're doing it all, it's all bad, tokenism, all this stuff. Miles Morales is just a token, shit like that. And then said, well, now I'm going to put out a comic book and it's going to be, the way comics should be or whatever. But meanwhile, I got a couple of quick clips we can check out that really kind of say it all.
Yeah.
What's the problem with the new legacy characters though? Because legacy characters are a comic book tradition.
New legacy character? What do you mean new legacy character? Are
You
you talking
understand-
about knockoff versions? Is that what you're referring to?
Okay, so you understand what a legacy character is, right?
Yes, I'm asking you for clarification. Can you answer what the question I just had?
Well, I'm trying to understand how you are asking what a legacy character is. A legacy character is simply
I
a
am
character.
saying, what do you mean by new legacy character? If they're a legacy character, they wouldn't be new.
What? No, legacy characters are characters that carry on the legacy. You understand that, right?
Yes, I understand that, but if it's a legacy character, the character itself has been there and it's ingrained in comic books, as you just said. So what do you mean new?
Because there are new characters created to add on to the legacy. Please don't tell me you're this dumb.
Oh, that
I
never gets old.
forgot about that.
That never gets
I
old.
think and play him like doing the Miles Morales thing where he like in his one video was like, "Oh, Miles Morales is amazing. It's a great character." And then like a couple years later, he said like, "Oh, I hate Miles Morales."
I think that was actually Dane's clip that people were sharing that he made of that one. So that was
I'm not going to ban you right now because I really want to see you challenge yourself to get better at trolling because like you're really, really bad, man. Like please just try a little bit harder.
Curious, how am I can't speak for anyone else but myself. I'll leave right now. What have I ever said that's racist? If I did say something that's bad, I would happily try to.
Well,
learn
we were just making fun of a black guy. So
also, I thought
it'd be racist to not stream with kids.
I mean, if you ever see now that you've mentioned anything critical of Eric July, you're probably going to be called racist by his fans. That's what they do.
I thought the whole calling people racist was something they accused SJWs of doing. So now they're doing it too. So I guess it's no longer just an SJW thing. I don't know.
But the way I see it, it's racist to treat someone of a different ethnicity differently than you would treat anyone else. That's racist, in my opinion. It'd be more racist to not criticize someone for their dog shit opinions because of their ethnicity. That's racist, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We got a couple super chats before we move. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Bob.
1 second.
I was just gonna say, going back, not that long ago, but like we brought up Eric July's comic book. I just want to share this panel because this is from a $35 comic book, and I have no idea what the fuck is going on with this.
I think that's how people feel after watching Eric July for a few hours. I need a break.
Yeah. But then they levitate over their couch. You know.
We'll save the super chats because I think they're from Ant's channel, so we'll watch them or read them after he gets back.
Yeah. I mean, man, you know, like it's very unclear what Isom's powers are in the comic. Even though there's 2 issues, he's appeared a few times and was still unclear. But like, it's pretty obvious that Eric has said he doesn't fly, but apparently just like a couple of inches levitation above the couch. Yeah, he can do that.
Well, just his ass. So like his feet will go on the arm, then his head goes in the pillow, and then his ass levitates a little bit. That's one of his powers.
Right.
Is it doing well?
No.
Based on what standard?
No, it's not. It's definitely not. I think the last time I looked at the numbers, it is selling lower than any other recent
Sorry for that. Got a phone call from my mother telling me they might have contaminants in the water. How fantastic. Great. Love that.
So you just kind of nod off on your desk anytime soon. Then
I'll just drink this beer instead. It'll save this bottle.
This is over at your channel, Hikaru, with a $5 super chat. In the UK, it is expected to take the piss out of politicians. Even if that's not the case, they can't stop us. Yeah, I mean, that's part of what being a United States citizen used to mean. I mean, now it's like they want you to bend the knee to politicians, even though they're elected officials. So,
well, it's a cult.
Yeah.
America specializes in cults.
Yes.
We let Scientology become a big religion. Well, big in terms of finances, not big in terms of membership. I think its height had less than 500,000 members, which sounds like a lot, but it's really not. That's like a YouTube subscriber.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Oh man, I see you covered pop culture crisis again. So you're definitely gonna get back on their show, Eric.
Oh, me? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they were talking about that Hunter Schafer Mystique thing. And I thought it was interesting because at the very beginning of their video, they go, this is most likely false based on the report from the account that it came from. But then they spend the next like 8 minutes trashing Hunter Schafer over a fan casting that Hunter Schafer had nothing to do with. And I'm like, what?
Hunter Schafer is a great actress.
Yeah.
I want to put that right now. She's fantastic. Have you seen the one horror film? I think is it Cuckoo? I think it is. Let me go check the name of that.
I don't remember one that I saw with. If that's the title, I have not seen that one.
Yeah, it's Cuckoo. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's really good. Not like amazing, but I thought she was really good in it.
Yeah,
and also has Dan Stevens in it in one of his slightly more unhinged roles from 2024.
Oh, that's great.
Nice. I think like all of his performances were unhinged.
Is this on Shudder, AMC, or is this on like another streaming service? Because most of the horror movies are on like AMC, I think, or the good ones.
Yeah, well, Shudder is a lot good. This was actually it's on Hulu actually.
Oh,
watch it on Hulu.
Oh,
yeah.
It was a film festival release. So
those are always great.
Oh, it's always good. Horror is continually progressive.
You know, these guys haven't watched it, Anthony, but I'm curious if you've watched it, and can you give a quick opinion on Skinamarink?
A quick opinion or a long opinion? I can go on.
Well, just general, because I watched it and I thought it was kind of interesting. It wasn't like profound or anything like that, but a lot of people have said it's the most boring thing they've ever watched.
I thought it was incredible. I love Skinamarink. I think it is such a great experience in atmospheric filmmaking.
Yeah.
And it is a film. It's not that director's best film because he did some stuff on YouTube that's like a half-hour long, that same style. If you want to get the vibe of Skinamarink, but get it quickly, watch his YouTube stuff. It's a half hour. It's in and out. You'll be easy enough. You get the same vibe.
It plays with like noises and visuals and things like that. That's kind of what it is.
Well, you only get 3 glances at the main characters' faces. It's all shot from like off-kilter shots and from a distance, and it's all obscured. And it's a film. If you describe it on the plot as written, it's very strange. My spouse refused to watch it. Like she just left the room entirely. She's like, "I'm not watching this shit. I'm out of here." And I sat down and like on Shudder with like the lights off.
Yeah, that's the best way to watch that movie.
Closed doors,
100%.
all the sound muffled, and like the whole film, the sound is bad.
Yeah.
The shots are poorly lit. You don't see shit in the whole movie, and it is the scariest, not scariest, the creepiest experience of your life.
And if you don't have surround sound, I would say wear earbuds or headphones or something so you can really be immersed in it. Honestly.
Yeah, you got to go in like purely. Okay, so I'll say one more thing before we wrap up.
Yeah.
The idea of the film is a couple of kids. They wake up one night. Their parents are gone, and all the doors and windows of the house are missing.
They disappeared, yeah.
And it's like, and they're too young to really get this is something that shouldn't happen. Like, they're very young kids, and they just hear a voice telling them to go upstairs, and things sequentially start to, like, the toilet vanishes, rooms vanish from the house, and it just becomes like this hellscape of a nightmare scenario. Low budget, there's no money involved, and it is a movie that it's true Lovecraftian horror. Like, you never get an idea what's going on. They never explain it. You just know whatever is in control of the situation just wants to fucking torture these kids. Yeah. And there's nothing they can ever do to even understand what's happening to them, let alone stop it. Like, there's no hope. There's never even the inkling of any escape from this horror. Yeah. And it's pure nightmare fuel. It's like a nightmare you never want to you want to wake up from immediately. It is terrifying, but you have to get in the vibe of it. You have to vibe with it correctly.
I keep pitching this movie to people and they don't watch it, and I'm like, you have to go give it a shot. Like,
well, I'll pitch it to the way that my one editor from Dread Central, she told me that she went in to watch it a second time while high.
Oh,
and it was the worst. She took like an edible before going in.
Yeah,
and she said it was the worst experience of her life, like true nightmare fuel.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, that sounds awful. Actually, I wouldn't want to do that.
So this is the Shillcast. We do this every Wednesday on multiple channels. I'm Actual Fan, and we got Eric Debunks, Organized Chaos. We got others that join us here and there occasionally or frequently. We do this every Wednesday. I think I said that, but yeah, check us out. We talk about media that we like. We talk about the media we don't like. We criticize corporations even while appreciating some of the art that they can put out. And then we also heavily criticize people that make bad faith content about bad media, which we're about to do right now.
Yeah,
because look at this fucking delusional thumbnail.
That is, I'm surprised it's not AI. I will give him that. I give him credit for it not being AI. I think.
So,
I hope
this is like a 12-minute video. We're not going to watch the whole thing either, but like I haven't watched it. I just
I think I know what this is. This is really I can't wait for you guys to hear this. This is really
okay.
It's pretty annoying. Yeah.
Okay, let me ask a question for you before you start this. Do I need another drink for this?
You might. I honestly don't know, but I mean,
give me a second. I'm right back.
He says a lot without saying a goddamn thing. Maybe. Yeah.
All right.
It's no secret that the American comic book industry has seen better days. Some people have completely given up on it. They believe everybody that participate in it has hopped on a sinking ship, and they're largely wasting their time.
Okay. So just, I'm going to go ahead and find a piece of information here. So they love to say that the comic book industry is a sinking ship, it's dying and stuff like that. It's actually just crucial to their whole grift. I was looking at some market predictions the other day. I can share that here. So by the year 2033, so right now the global comic book market is valued at about $16.2 billion. Mm-hmm. By 2033, it'll be 27.2. And get off my shit. And this is on multiple different websites. It's not just like one woke fucking, shill website or something. You can find this in multiple places, and it breaks down exactly why this is.
Sorry about that. I had to say hello to my wife. What's going on here?
We're just looking over the comic book
market value for the comic book industry is at $16 billion right now, and is predicted to be 27 in the next 10, or I guess 8 years or so.
Oh, fantastic! Comic books deserve to have their. Yeah, obviously it's that they.
And yet, Eric July and all these other guys, their videos, are all premised on the fact that the comic book industry is in flames and it's, a sinking ship. Now there are problems with the comic book industry. Absolutely, there are fucking problems. But there's also, it's an industry in flux, and that's what they grift on. The idea that because it's consumption is changing, distribution is changing big time. Like just in the last month, there's been big changes in distribution. But the thing is, the comic book industry has been on a razor's edge essentially since it has existed.
But like the thing also is like, the comic industry isn't just like DC and Marvel anymore. It's web comics. There's a lot of indie comic book makers. One of the biggest comics in the last 20 years, you know what it is? It's Homestuck. Homestuck is one of the big. I mean, granted, we can laugh at it now because it's really goofy and there's some cringy stuff in it. But like for a while, that was one of the biggest comics of the last 20 years. People were obsessed with it. You can go to a convention with someone dressed as a troll. And that's purely new media. That's purely, you could never physically, I mean, you could physically, they did physically publish Homestuck, but that's partially Flash animation. That's part, you're laughing at me, but I'm right. That's a webcomic, essentially. I know it's not a good comic, but Boyfriends or the webtoon stuff. Yeah. That's all. I mean, it's not good in my opinion. Lore Olympia, the Hades Persephone comic. It's on every Barnes Noble shelf. Like, it's not great. Dogman, there we go. Yep. Dogman, Captain Underpants. They're great comics, and they're just outside of the DC Marvel element. And there's people in this chat. I know Cy works in webcomics, but like, or which way is the right? There you go, Cy. There you go. Like, I know you work on webcomics. Like, there's tons of people who work on webcomics to get like a loyal audience, and they come back and then page by page by page, and it's a great industry. The problem is a lot of these critics, I think, are beholden to the traditional Marvel, DC, newspaper stand, comic book store.
That's what they definitely probably intentionally limit their scope to when they talk about this, is just mainstream superhero fare, right? And then they want to, which he's going to do in this video, I'm relatively sure, he's going to bring up manga and its explosion in fucking sales in the last several years, which it has. But the thing that he does is they always do this. They frame it as if manga is somehow competing with Western superhero comics, when really if you look at the data, both have risen. Manga by far more, but I mean, if anything, it would suggest that manga brings Western superhero comics up along with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you see the Comic Drake video that he did recently about Japan and Japanese fans of Western superheroes?
Nope.
It's really good. It's a really interesting video. He went to Japan and he went to comic shops that sold American superhero comics. Because Japan loves superheroes,
right?
Especially Spider-Man, which, if you've seen their Sentai, you know that for a fact. But there was a while back in the 90s and 2000s, they did a manga adaptation of the X-Men 90s animated series. It was all published. I think Viz Media is re-releasing it now in a trade paperback, like a hardcover volume.
Westaboos.
That's what they are, exactly. And some of them have gotten jobs with Marvel and DC as artists. Like it's a massive industry.
So we're 11 seconds into this video, and he already, he told that lie. So hopefully, we've gotten past that. So
the other thing to keep in mind is that he's gonna like to put himself against Marvel and DC, but also bring up manga. A lot of manga in America is published by Marvel and DC. Just throwing that out there.
Some is. Most of it's Viz.
It's a lost cause.
Actually, a lot of manga now is being published by the original publishers in Japan directly. They have their
really.
Well, yeah. What they have is like Kodansha, for example, has their Western branch. Sony has branches, and they work with different manga publishers. For a while it was Viz. For a while it was Tokyo Pop. For a while, it was some of the Dark Horse did a lot, but it's been a lot of these companies have like distributed their comics directly to the market through partnerships, usually like the big four publishers of like mainstream media. Most comic sales are young adult and children's comics, but just as many are manga and they all work through the system. They just don't use like the diamond, comic book shop stuff. which, of course, now they're not.
Which is a good call now.
Yeah,
Right.
now they're definitely not. But before, they're just doing it different ways. That's all. Or they do it through Webtoons or some digital avenue like that.
But I'm a lot more optimistic than others. That said, I'm a realist. I recognize that a lot has to happen in order for it to turn around. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Eric July and I'm the founder and owner of Ripverse Publishing. We're a relatively new comic book company that launched in 2022, and since then we've sold well over 200,000 total books and made over $10 million in total sales. So I have a lot of skin in the game and in an industry that is supposedly
pause this.
Yeah.
So one thing he keeps failing to, but let me like put a little context here that he's not going to add.
One thing he's great at is framing with specific context to make himself look good. Sorry.
More than half of that money is merchandise.
Yep.
Yes.
So it's $10 million in sales, but not on comic books. It's all of the stuff in his shop, including figurines, posters, the memberships that his people pay for like expedited shipping on a crowd-funded product, which ships out at the same time for everybody. It's this ridiculous stuff that he charges for. So he's made 10 million, which is fine. I mean, obviously that's a good thing for a new company, but he's not made it off of comic books alone. He keeps framing it like he is making $10 million in comic book sales, and he's not.
Didn't he also charge $129 for a 40-page floppy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the base one is like $35 or whatever, but typically, but when, or at least the first couple issues, but then you could buy, variant covers by canceled artists or whatever, and then signed by him, which somehow raises the value $100 or whatever. And then, but what's funny is that more recently, these comics that he sold for $35 plus per issue when they came out, he was selling them for $5 on his website.
Yeah.
Which, at the same time, he's trying to act like there's some kind of secondary market value to these things.
By the way, he's also showing clips of him with like Nerdrotic and stuff. So clearly he's trying to like.
That was a critical drinker too, right? In the sunglasses?
I
mean, I would argue that he doesn't really have a comic book company. He has a culture war merch company.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
It is.
I mean, again, I already showed it, but here's this fucking panel. This was released on a $35 comic book, and he has the power to make his butt hover on a couch, apparently.
That looks like just a zoom-in shot of his face.
It
doesn't even look like he's like...
It is.
It's not different art. It's just a close-up.
Well, that's the funny thing you mentioned that, Anthony. Most of the stuff in this first issue is 3D stock assets. They're not even hand-drawn.
This is actually the second issue. It'd be a bit more justifiable on the first one.
100% serious.
assets?
Yes.
Yep.
Well, and to be fair, the 3D assets are used in comic books. It's just that the entire background of much of these issues is 3D assets, and
they proved that this
panel, except
they showed this figure is a pre-made asset too. Him laying on the couch is an actual painted over asset.
But it doesn't even look like that leg. What's he doing? He's just
because he's supposed to be standing up. This asset is a person standing up. They just laid them on their side.
The only explanation
it makes so much
is if he's like trying to rip a fart right now. That's what it looks like.
How the fuck did you make that and not notice that the fucking legs weren't working correctly?
Because he hired a very cheap company to make these comic books. Like, there's a company called Glass House Studios that's based in Brazil that does these quick turnover rate comic books if you have enough money. And that's what he's done. That's what all these comic books are.
How am I expecting the bare minimum here and still impressed by how far below the line they go?
$35
So, yeah.
Yep.
So, Steph, the scientist here over on your channel with the 49 super chat, classic reactionary, pretend there's a problem, then sell yourself as the solution. That's what Eric's marketing strategy is. Problematic or problem-centric selling. He pretends that he is the answer to problems in the industry, which is why you see all these business videos from him, because that is his marketing strategy. So, yeah.
And I want to remind my audience, this guy works with Glenn Beck. So he's not, he's not like, he's not some indie guy out of nowhere. He is not like a hard on his luck. He has a framed portrait at the Blaze TV headquarters.
Yeah, the lobby. He's 4 spots away from Glenn Beck.
Yeah. The summary of Eric July's whole thing is this: I hired a third-rate Brazilian comic art sweatshop, got the biggest name of 1996, and some dudes who got fired for hating Jews. made a comic full of clip art, typos, splash pages with no action, and my wife's Etsy ads. Gave you an insecure self-insert main character with no defined powers who loses every fight he's in before he turns into a mannequin and takes a floating nap on a cement sofa. Didn't bother to make sure the name wasn't copyrighted. Made several $1 million while saying it's from a comic, but it's mostly merch sales. And y'all still want to call me a scammer?
That's not a direct quote from him, right? That's like a summary.
No.
Okay, let's make sure.
That's my quote of his.
Sometimes with him, you can't tell.
That's the problem. I've heard him talk. I've referenced him in my videos before, and it's always
well, let's go ahead and drop the Amazing Fantasy 15 one, right? Like,
oh god,
I was watching the new Spider-Man show with my girlfriend last night. And I noticed the first episode is called Amazing Fantasy, and I was like, Aaron doesn't know what that episode's about.
Yeah. You wouldn't get the joke.
Like, why did they title it that?
Mystery.
You've read Amazing Fantasy number 15, right?
Let's talk about. Go back to ISOM. What about it? Are you asking? What specific?
Wait. You've read Amazing Fantasy number 15,
action?
Right?
What specific action are you asking? Pretending? No. I'm gonna get stuck on this one. You've read Amazing Fantasy number 15, right? Are you what? Let's talk about ISOM. You just asked me a question. Let's quit moving the goalposts. What specifically about the?
There are plenty of people that don't know who Spider-Man is, dipshit.
Suffering Steve Ditko! How can you not know that Spider-Man first appeared in 1962's classic Amazing Fantasy number 15?
I'm still stunned that didn't just get him clowned out of like the superhero discussion right there. Like, I mean, look, listen, I don't expect everyone to know every detail of comic books ever, but like, there's a few key details. If you're
gonna pose yourself as a comic book expert on YouTube, you should probably be at least aware of that book. Maybe not even read it, but at least know the basic premise.
Right. Yeah, you got a lifeline.
Yeah, I always said, like, for me, if they didn't frame themselves as experts, I wouldn't care if their opinion was bad. You know, that's my take on it.
I mean, one of his takes was that Miles Morales makes no sense considering Peter's origin, and it's like, what book has his origin, Eric?
Yeah, like, you know what the fucking Amazing Fantasy 15 is? You know what the fucking origin is? Like, here's the thing. I watched last night. I watched a bunch of reactions to the new Your Friend in the Neighborhood Spider-Man show. A ton of people were talking about the original comics for Spider-Man, the first 28 issues of Peter Parker in high school. They didn't know that Gwen Stacy didn't show up in those books. Didn't know Mary Jane didn't show up in those books. Didn't know Harry Osborn didn't show up in those books.
Mm-hmm.
The love interest for Spider-Man, the first 28 issues of The Amazing Spider-Man, is Betty Brant. It's not Mary Jane. It's not Gwen Stacy. It's Betty Brant from the Daily Bugle. But you got a lot of experts who watch Spectacular Spider-Man, who watch the Raimi films, who watch the Amazing Spider-Man films, who assume, oh, Gwen Stacy, she was in high school with Peter Parker, right? Like, oh, Mary Jane, she was in the same high school graduating class as Peter Parker. Granted, it makes more sense to put them in high school.
Yeah,
you know, logically it does from our perspective now, but they weren't introduced in the comics at that point. So any deviation like that is an adaptational change.
Part of what the Raimi films, I think, do a good job is condensing a lot of his key elements throughout his life and just condensing them so they're there.
And remarkably, the Raimi films actually have Peter Parker outside of high school, which is crazy.
Yeah, he's only in high school for like the first hour, and then he's done.
Yeah. 40 minutes, you're out of there. Best high school experience of my life. Getting out of high school.
Yeah, I mean, so I see some people asking what is Shillcast, and I mean, I just happen to have made this new thing here. There you go.
There you go. Yeah. Also, Sai, you're correct. It is like people who thought that April O'Neil wasn't black in the original comics.
Oh,
was she really? Was it just like,
I forgot about that discourse.
Oh, April O'Neil's black in the original comics. People, I've gotten a lot of comments who've told me, no, she's not black. Like, she's black.
Well, Kevin, I think it was Kevin Eastman came out and said that, yeah, she was intended to be, it was supposed to be like half black, right? Based on his girlfriend.
Yeah, mixed, biracial, I believe. Yes. But still, it's like, the problem is people who talk about comics extensively don't know the history. And those who do know the history are extremely careful before they say anything because they want to make sure they get it right.
Right.
The more you know, the more you want to make sure you know, and the less you know, the more you don't give a shit.
I think the other thing is these guys just never admit mistakes. That's the thing. They'll make a mistake and they'll just move on from it and never ever admit that they made a mistake.
Exactly. Also, yes, Baichi Epiodera, who is a mod on my Discord. If you want to join my Discord, you absolutely can. If you, I'm kidding. No, yeah, 100%. These people didn't know who Nico Minoru is. I kept saying Nico Minori on my stream because I'm like an idiot, but like, yeah, Nico Minoru. From the Runaways. She's in your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Really adorably designed character. Really,
great character in that show. Yeah.
Great character, well made, well written. Runaways, she's amazing. She's a great character overall, extremely powerful. If you have not played Midnight Suns, play Midnight Suns.
Is it good? Because I thought about getting it. And I was like, I don't know.
You ever play XCOM?
No.
Well, fuck it. You play XCOM too.
I think I'll probably get it on that recommendation because I was it looks cool. I just didn't want to get it and be really disappointed. So
get it with the DLC because you get Venom and everyone's favorite character Morbius in the game.
Yes, the DLC is the way to go. 100%.
Great. You can play as Venom, I should say. Venom's in the game also, but like if you get DLC, you can play as Venom, which is more.
All right, we're almost a minute in. Let's see how far we can go with this. And
been able to see success. This is going to be a generally positive video. I'll talk about what I think caused the issues and I'll propose some actual solutions. I'll also dispel of some common myths and give you my opinion on other factors. Let's get into it.
But keep in mind that literally the entire foundational premise of this video is bullshit. The thing that he says is a lie, that the comic book industry is just like in a death spiral or whatever.
And he doesn't read comics, so how can he talk about what the problem is?
He doesn't engage with it.
Comic books.
Well, I have friends in the publishing industry, so let's see if what he says about like the book publishing industry. So let's see what he says.
I watch with you for a reason.
Oh yeah, right. That's why you bring me into this because I know
the obvious thing that people should point to is the success of manga in the West. This shows that there isn't a demand issue. People still read comics and are willing to pay for the books. So there has to be some sort of disconnect that has this younger generation preferring Japanese comics over the American ones, as well as the more adult customers. All that said...
Stop a second. Okay, so here's the problem. He has not proven yet that there's more manga sales than Western sales in comics. He has to establish that. He's working with the caveat that it must be more Japanese sales than American sales, but he's not actually proving the sales figures yet. That's the first problem.
I mean, it is true though. Like, I mean, it's easy to find that. Like,
manga
made
I'm
up.
not saying he's wrong. I think he has to prove it.
Sure. Yeah, he hasn't. I mean, he doesn't prove shit. He just says things, right? Like, if you held him to the standard one time of having to prove something he says, then he would be fucked because he can't prove it. Even this is one time he's like, yes, this is true, but then his extrapolations from it are complete bullshit.
Exactly. And the thing also is manga sales
comics, they're the same thing. They're sold often in the same locations. Not always. That's one of the things that manga has over Marvel, DC, and stuff like that is that it sells in other spots, locations. And it's also I mean, I don't know. I don't read manga. I just know what I've looked into and what people tell me. You know what I mean? So
Dane, let me ask you a question real quick. Let me ask you two questions actually.
Sure.
And your answer will prove my point.
Okay.
If you're gonna read if I tell you, hey Dane, you gotta fucking read Berserk. It's fucking great. What book do you buy in the bookstore when I tell you, dude, read Berserk, it's fucking fantastic?
I mean, I
actually wouldn't know.
That one is really good.
Yeah, you pick up Berserk issue 1, right?
Okay.
You start there.
Yeah.
Then I tell you, oh hey Dane, X-Men, really great. Love the X-Men.
Okay, you're not gonna like my answer.
What book do you buy there?
I pick up because here's the thing, and I think this is an arbitrary kind of not like a bad intention gatekeeping, but it is a gatekeeping thing to say that like it's so hard to get in. My first superhero comic book, was Silver Surfer number 65. It was in the middle of some shit. It was right like before or after Thanos Quest. I didn't know anything about what was going on when I read it. I just read it and I liked what I read, and then I sought out more. And I think that's it's kind of weird to just think that you should. I don't know. I to me,
why?
I don't know where to start. Is like Well, look, engage with the content. There's way more media. There's YouTube videos, Wikipedias, all this stuff that you can go find the context you need. It's like, don't act like you're lost in the desert. You know what I mean?
I mean,
the problem is we're all screwed up, so our perspectives are probably not the best on this one.
Well, I guess maybe I can actually add some insight, because like I didn't start getting back into comic books till last year. I walked to the comic book store for the first time in years. Walk in there, and I'm like, fuck, I don't even know where to start at this point. It's been a while. You know what I did? I just grabbed covers from characters I like. Start there.
That's the right approach.
I mean,
the first book I ever read?
Your question is based on whether you want to read the entirety of a story and know everything that happens.
Yeah.
So if you do, then yeah, it's easier, I guess, in that way. But like, to me, even when I was a kid, like I said, I'm old, man. We didn't have fucking YouTube videos or wikis or whatever. I just had to go to Wizard magazine or ask my older brother, like, where do I find this? And to me, that was part of the hobby, right? It was like the seeking out of more context and where do I go from here and stuff like that. That was,
100%.
I guess if you just want everything 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe you got a busy life. That's understandable.
Well, the problem also is that American comics are strange in that they're not one author's vision, right? A lot of manga, it's one person. It's one or two people who are working from start to end. Berserk's the odd exception because the author died while making it. But most often it's you start with, let's say, the first issue of Berserk and you end with the last issue of Berserk. And it's a very linear story. Comics, it's designed very differently because it's interconnected universe, different writers, and all that kind of stuff. The first comic I ever read, I bought. I specify bought because I did get like a free giveaway, like anti-drug comic book when I was like in second grade. But the first comic I ever bought was Amazing Spider-Man number 362, and I bought it because the cover was really fucking cool, and it is really cool. I've used that cover in multiple videos because it's a great fucking cover. Get the cover of this up. I'll send it to you. It's a great cover. Spider-Man 362. And it's you'll know immediately why a kid would want this book based on the cover alone.
Oh god, shit. I think I have this one.
You've read this. It's an iconic story. You don't know from the random issue name, but it's a great fucking cover. It's a great one.
Yes.
Look at that. How can a kid not look at this cover and go, yeah, I want to read this?
At the same time, you literally had the Sega Genesis game come out,
exactly.
right around, I don't know if it's right around.
That looks like Mark Bagley's artwork. Is that Mark or is that Brett?
Yeah, I think so. Well, because the thing is also, the Sega Genesis game came out after this, but same art style. You mean Maximum Carnage, right, specifically? This was Carnage's first appearance. Maximum Carnage was his next appearance after this whole story.
Yeah.
And it's the same art style, same director. It's a couple issues later. It's cool as fuck. It's a great comic. And like as a kid, you're like, I love Spider-Man, love Venom, love the character Carnage. I can't say I love Carnage. That's a strange statement to say off the top of your head. But you read that and you go, yeah, I want to read this comic. The Reds
also read. But like no, so as far as like the somebody said something about univocal comics having a point, and yeah, I mean I can see the appeal in that, but it's a myth to say that like mainstream superhero comics don't have those. They're absolutely enclosed, beginning, middle, end Spider-Man, Batman, X-Men stories that you can find. That you don't need all of the decades or whatever of context outside of that to enjoy the story and get the full, So like it's only when we're talking about the ongoing, thing, which is kind of, there's a built-in challenge to, ongoing decades-long comic book titles, right?
That's fair. But I think one thing also you got to keep in mind is we're looking at it as though we know the characters. We know we can just jump into a book and figure it out. You talk about someone who's unequipped for that, who is not experienced with that, the average reader. They go, oh, well, I want to read a series of books. Let's start at book number 1. They may not realize they can just jump into a book and figure it out. That's the issue. It's the marketing. It's how you sell it. Manga is easier to sell because it's self-contained. It's a certain pitch, and you go from there. Also, with manga, there are thousands upon thousands of manga out there. I guarantee you that Dragon Ball is not equivalent to Ouran High School Host Club in terms of sales.
Right.
Guaranteed. So when you say the manga industry is selling this much, okay, well, what books are you talking about? You mean Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon? You mean Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia? You mean, what are you talking about? Or do you mean Wish? Do you mean Magic Knight Rayearth? Do you mean Chobits? Do you mean Fushigi Yugi? You know, there's tons of titles out there. And those are old titles. Those aren't even new titles, I said. They're all old. That's not even getting to, like, you know, is it wrong to pick up Girls in the Dungeon or Wolfenspice? You know, it's tons of different shows out there.
I have a series of questions that I would ask. If somebody comes to me and says, you know, I want to start reading X-Men comics, but I don't know where to start. There's so many and blah, blah, blah. I would be like, well, okay, so what got you interested? Is it a character? Is it a creator? Is it an era? Because, you know, you get one of those questions answered, you know, then you got a pretty good starting point. You know what to point to a lot better, right?
100%.
It's like, oh, I'm into Colossus. I'm like, okay, well, you know, you can probably point to, I hate to say it, but Astonishing X-Men. That's actually pretty self-contained to a degree.
Yeah.
I was about ready to say Joss Whedon's run on Astonishing X-Men was really good.
Whenever he returns
from bosses.
I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of Grant Morrison's X-Men run, even though I think it's incredible. I don't like how they wrote Mystique. I'm Mystique.
Magneto.
I don't like how they wrote Magneto. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, well, he was on drugs though, and he was a drug head.
I hate how Grant Morrison writes Mystique. Magneto.
It
Why
was
Mystique?
weird.
What's wrong with me?
Like I loved his run on JLA before then, but then when he went to X-Men, I was excited, and then it's still good, but just it wasn't the same.
Cassandra Nova's stuff's really good. The Human's really good. I don't think Sublime is a good concept. That always annoyed me. Sublime. I think it's better if humanity hates mutants because they're just bigoted, not because it's like some eldritch entity representing bigotry that influences
bacteria or whatever. Yeah,
hate that. I imagine. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Sai, for calling me out. Yeah, that's it right there. You figured it. You cracked the code there.
All right, let's see what else he's got to add.
Yeah, let's go back there.
I do think getting the attention of younger generations is important. The entire industry doesn't need to hinge on it just because they did in the past. While it's true that young fans turn into older fans, you can still have geek culture industries that trend towards older teenagers and adults and still see a lot of success.
AI?
Warhammer 4.
What? No, that's One Punch Man.
It's kind of sounds like it, right?
It's
no. I mean, like
saying
the images. The images looked like AI.
No, that's One Punch Man, the manga. That can't be replicated with AI.
True.
Where's he getting this from then? Where are these?
Probably a stock image. Someone reading.
Well, I mean,
One
I'm
Punch Man.
still. I actually want to focus a little bit on his argument because I'm like, okay, they do make comic books for all different age ranges, and what is he talking about?
They do.
It's literally every claim he makes, like every criticism or whatever, is based on just like, maybe it's not a lie. Maybe it's, as we know, he doesn't know shit, so he could just be speaking from ignorance.
He's counting on people who
I'm gonna
used to be
grant
comic
him.
book fans. I think.
I'm sorry, cut you off there. I'm so sorry.
I was just gonna say he's counting on people who used to be comic book fans and selling vibes to them, essentially.
Well, I'm gonna grant him one thing, but not in the direction he wants me to grant it in. There's manga for all audiences. There is so much manga for gay adult men out there that mainstream comics aren't covering. There's so much there's a whole genre. It's called bara, of like just buff gay men.
Yeah.
Making love with each other.
Yep.
And American comics is not satisfying the audience. So Eric July, I agree with you. We need more manga with buff.
I was gonna say it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that because he's overlooking how wild the manga comics can be because there's almost no limitations on what they're putting in their books. I mean, it kind of crosses all kinds of like cultural boundaries for the United States audience.
Agreed. So Eric July is saying we need Yuri on Ice season 2. Chat, Eric, you heard it first here. Eric July wants Yuri on Ice to come back for season 2. They want to have more kissing on the ice as Yuri and Victor ice skate on the ice. He wants more of that international, diverse material that is in Yuri on Ice.
Right.
Where you get tons of. He wants a Kenyan ice skater on ice. They want to have the Canadian ice skater come back. They want all of Eric July said it first. I'm so glad Eric July spoke out for more gay media to be publicly well watched. I respect that.
I mean, look, honestly, realistically, and Eric knows this, Eric Debunks here, that he probably would prefer to have more gay comics content because that means he gets to make more content about how they're making gay content.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? What was that? You want that? You did a video on this where you counted like how much of his videos in a small window of time.
Yeah. Last year it was like 70% of his videos had some sort of gay story in it. Like it was either anti-gay or covering something gay on his channel.
Then why is he celebrating manga then? Manga's way gayer than mainstream in America.
Because he is taking advantage of the ignorance of the people that watch his channel.
So he's saying that no one in his industry, his audience, has watched. It's funny. Early in the video, they showed Berserk, right? They showed some Berserk stuff, right?
Yeah.
Early on. The Kentaro Miura, who made Berserk, cited The Rose of Versailles as one of his core inspirations for Berserk. The Rose of Versailles is one of the gayest manga of the 70s. It is so explicitly gay. It is heavily inspired by the life of, what's her name? The gay opera singer who burned down a nunnery to get bring her girlfriend out of there.
I've never heard that story. I have to hear this, though. When was this? Was this like in the 60s, 70s, you said? Is when this...
The Rose of Versailles is from the 70s. It's about Marie Antoinette.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Julie Debigny. There we go. Julie Debigny is the inspiration for Lady Oscar from The Rose of Versailles. Rose of Versailles just got an adaptation actually recently from Mappa, the same studio that put out Yuri on Ice and Attack on Titan. Julie Debigny, thank you. Julie Debigny was an opera singer. She was a bisexual opera singer from France. This is a real person, not a fictional person, who famously seduced tons of men and women throughout France in the 1700s. Her lover was a woman. I think she's the daughter of a duke or something like that, or a marquis or whatever, and a person of high aristocratic status. The father caught wind of the affair and sent the daughter to the nunnery. So Julie Debigny pretended to be a nun, got to the nunnery to bring her girlfriend out of said nunnery, and torched the nunnery to the ground to fake her girlfriend's death.
Wow.
Planted a fake body to burn in the convent hole that the girlfriend was in, and they ran away together. They then broke up 3 months later.
Oh, okay.
And then she went on to sleep with someone else.
Yeah, that's
She also sang opera the whole time.
So now I have to go back and read this old manga from the 70s. It seems
The Rose of Versailles is about Marie Antoinette, and the main character of Rose of Versailles is Lady Oscar. Her father wanted boys and only got daughters. And when his last child was a girl, he said, you know what? I'm going to raise my daughter as a boy. And she becomes the captain of the guards that seduces all the ladies. And it's a great, fantastic story. The Rose of Versailles is I think I have it right here, actually. 1 second. Yeah, here we go. The Rose of Versailles, right here. Right
of course, you had it within like distance.
It's a fantastic book. I was just rereading it recently. It is absolutely fantastic. I recommend anyone who's interested in historical manga to read The Rose of Versailles. I've given you like 5 recommendations, y'all.
Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna get on that one.
Yeah, it's great. But Berserk was heavily inspired by The Rose of Versailles. Specifically, the character of Lady Oscar inspired the design of Griffith from Berserk, not personality-wise. And The Rose of Versailles also inspired, I know Sai's favorite manga, Utena, was heavily inspired by The Rose of Versailles. Anime, not manga, The Rose of Versailles. So, there we go.
And still see a lot of success. Warhammer 40K is an example of this. Another thing that I think is overstated is the variety issue. Superhero comics are the most in-demand comic, much like shonen style mangas are the most in-demand mangas. Yet there exist all sorts of other mangas, from sports to food.
Wait, stop.
Likewise,
all shonen manga. What the fuck is he talking about? Those are all shonen manga. He didn't show a single non-shonen title in the whole description. They're all shonen. Oh, we have other genres that are popular.
What
Sailor
is he
Moon,
talking about?
Fruits Basket. These are pretty mainstream titles.
plenty of variety in American comics. There exists all types of different comics out there, so the lack of variety is not only overstated, it's just flat out incorrect. I think a lot of these myths stem from people not wanting to accept some harsh realities.
So his argument is there's not enough variety, but then his argument is there is a lot of variety.
Yeah, there's not enough variety, but there is.
He's shown the same demographic, though.
Oh my god.
He's only showing the same type of title. He hasn't shown any magical girl shows. He hasn't shown any romance shows. He hasn't shown any manga, I should say. He hasn't shown any. Okay, on my bookshelf right there, it is a tiny ass bookshelf compared to the plethora he's shown. And even then, there were more varieties of manga than he has shown in this entire video so far, with about, I don't know, 300 different covers. They're all the same fucking publisher.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Jump titles.
It's almost like the people that gave him the script for this or did the research on this didn't do more than like Chat GPT or something.
Well, I mean,
like that.
and think about the variety of the Ripverse, for God's sake. And I use that term loosely, variety. Like it's all just basically the same flavor of shit, you know?
No, you have a superhero who's a black dude, and you have a superhero
who's not a superhero.
Then you have lady superhero who's not a superhero as well. Yeah.
But even then, even
huge
among
variety.
shonen titles, they didn't show variety. Like, okay, so shonen titles, shonen is a demographic for young boys between the ages of 12 to 18, roughly. But everyone reads them. They're not like, it's not exclusively for that age group. Hikaru no Go is a game where people play the game Go competitively. That's the whole plot of the game of the manga. Demon Slayer is about a historical fiction piece where they fight demons. They are both technically shonen, but are remotely not really plot-wise very similar.
Aizen fights demons in issue 2.
Exactly. But like, different shonen titles. They have different variety topics. Yu-Gi-Oh is technically as much a shonen title as fucking Dragon Ball Z, but they're not really similar in terms of structure or style or format. But even then, all the titles he showed were very similar.
I don't understand it.
I think the biggest difference was Delicious in Dungeon, but I also think he's never read Delicious in Dungeon because that is a good manga, and I don't think he would actually know anything about it if he was challenged.
I would actually be shocked if he's read any manga.
I agree.
Oh, he has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. But I'm just pointing out how much.
I think solutions require proper analyzing of the American comic book industry and mangas. Both have unique attributes, so it's not about simply copying what the Japanese have done. In a lot of cases, some of what they do was influenced by old American cartoonists and traditions anyway.
Incorrect.
One thing that I don't think is talked about.
It's also recent comics they were influenced by. Osamu Tezuka was heavily inspired by the Daffy Duck comics put out by Disney. But modern comics, modern manga, are heavily inspired by Western comics. For example, Trigun, one of the most, I think one of the best Western sci-fi comics or manga around. Trigun introduces a character named Monev. Monev is introduced pumping iron and has a big purple and blue costume with a face mask with fangs on it and weird triangular shaped eyes. What is Monev spelled backwards? Menov. I mispronounced his name. Menov spelled backwards. No, Monev.
Venom.
It's Venom. Yeah. He's introduced pumping iron in a dark room, just like Venom is in the comics. His costume looks like Venom. He is basically Venom. And the manga artist is like, yeah, because I like Spider-Man. That's why he's called that.
Demi here is coming through with a $2 super chat about the age and gender bracket and not being a genre there. So, thank you for the super chat.
It's bizarre for him to act like the superhero genre is the most in-demand thing. When honestly, as much as I love superhero comics, I believe it is losing its ground as far as like a desired genre, and I'm fine with that because there's a lot of other genres that can tell excellent stories as well. There's room for all of it. That's the biggest lie about all this shit is that comics, manga, whatever you like, there's room for everything. That's why it's such an amazing medium. And yes, I'm including comics and manga as one thing because essentially they are the same thing.
And I want to point one thing out too that chat's mentioning. one of the most successful shonen mangas the last 10 years is My Hero Academia, which is basically a superhero story.
Yeah.
Like, superheroes are popular. I don't know what to tell you.
So another lie that he likes to tell to all these guys, Comicsgate, Ripverse types, is that they act like they are the indie comics industry. You know, so like anytime some kind of drama is going on, like the indie comics industry is erupting in chaos or whatever, having a civil war or whatever, and it's like, no, because the actual indie comics industry doesn't even really know you guys exist, other than sometimes encountering your trolls on Twitter or whatever. Yeah.
Well, he says he's an indie publisher that has all these different issues and sales, but he has mentioned the fact that his singular floppies are more expensive than the average graphic novel is. You know,
yes,
the average trade paperback is cheaper. I bought all of Watchmen for $20 the other day at the comic book store. That's
about right.
That sounds about right? That is about 1/5 the price of one of his 20-page floppies. 40-page floppies, whatever it is.
There you go.
I can guarantee you it's 1,000,000 times better.
Oh, God, yeah. God, yeah.
And you would know because you literally bought all of the Ripverse at one point.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I'm
so
out of date
sorry.
now, but I'm not getting any more. I got it discounted on eBay for $25 for 4 originally $35 issues.
Yeah, every one of those issues that he got was originally priced at more than the total of those comics when he paid.
I'm
for
so
them.
sorry you had to deal with that. That's fucking rough.
I'm not getting any more. I'm done. There's only so much
fucking blame you.
Yeah.
Trying to find my sales chart for him. I'll pull that up in a minute once I find it.
I mean, if you actually read his books, it really does come off. He's just selling merch for his anti-woke culture war shit. He's not selling a comic book.
Well, he's not a creative. He's a businessman. He doesn't know anything about fucking comics or storytelling. It's like these guys who like get Chat GPT and think they can write a novel.
Right.
You know? No, you can't. You know what you're talking about. You know what a good story is if it bit you on the ass. It just happens to be you have the words in front of you and you think that's good enough. But it's not.
And you have funding from obvious outside sources.
Yeah.
I mean, there are
Like
people
Glenn
What do you
Beck.
mean?
He's independent, but you know.
What are you trying to say?
Matched by the Blaze.
He's independently funded by Glenn Beck.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he ranks above the Duck Dynasty guy. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I mean he's ahead of Duck Dynasty. Unfortunately, he hasn't caught up with whoever Hillary Kennedy is or Alex Stein, who's the star of the network, obviously. You know, and he lied to Bob whenever they had their debate, and Bob was like, "How much does Glenn Beck pay you?" And he goes, "Glenn Beck doesn't own the Blaze," which is technically true. He doesn't. He's not the immediate owner, but he is the owner of the parent company of Blaze.
Right.
And it's like
something I did a short about, but like he actually has like this weird tick that I've never seen him use before when he talked about the Blaze, which tells me he is nervous as fuck talking.
He does not like people to think about.
Well, the problem is when he plays a game like Glenn Beck doesn't own the Blaze, but he owns the parent company. That tells you everything you need to know about the way he frames all of his videos. I mean, that's essentially what he does.
I'm seeing some people in chat mention this too. So publisher, I would say you can have a good businessman who's creative. That is something you can do. There's tons of business focused people who are also creatively driven.
Yes.
But the problem is it's a mix of the two disciplines. It's not one or the other. With Eric July, it's one or the other. Is the best way of putting it.
I don't even think he's a good businessman.
Oh, agreed. He's not. But like he thinks he is. But he's more business minded, I should say.
True.
And let's be honest, not all businessmen know what they're talking about with business. They think that total domination of an industry is the metric of success, as opposed to just, you know, pulling something out. Who knows? But yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I think, hopefully.
Do we need to continue anymore? I mean, it seems like he's just, you know, constantly building
I
off.
I wouldn't mind seeing a bit more of a thesis from him.
Yeah, I want to see what his argument is.
How it became somewhat of a detriment that the market share has been absolutely dominated by only 2 publishers for several decades. Sure, this could be due to many different factors, but that's what just happened. The entire industry is held up by 2 publishers, and generations of customers, including myself, were conditioned to only look to them as if they're the only legitimate publishers. From the talent.
So anybody that actually gives a shit about comics, eventually, if you're part of a comic book community, you're part of, a fandom, you will look outside of it. You will be introduced to things outside of Marvel and DC. And that he gives himself away right there.
Yeah. Hell, fucking just Image, Dark Horse, Boom Studios, and even that's not even getting into like just the big four publishers in general who put out comics.
Yeah, Titan, Valiant.
Well, I meant Random House. Those guys. Like I mean, like the big publishers of like books. but even then, it's like Valiant also, Titan. Like anyone who's a fan of comics, even fucking that was the whole thing in the 90s. Spawn was a big deal. Does he think Spawn didn't exist?
Spawn was huge, and that was Image.
Yeah.
That was the launching top for Image.
What was the one?
Didn't even mention IDW. That's might be number 3. I'm not sure. Maybe
I think
Image.
It was.
I'm not sure.
I think it fell back a little bit over the last couple of years, I think. What about Eric Larson's big
Dragon?
book Image? Yeah, Jack the Dragon.
Yeah, well that's Malibu. That is actually Marvel now.
There you go. Oh, there you go.
Wait,
Wildstorm was
no, Savage
DC
Dragon
initially.
wasn't Malibu.
It
was Image, I'm pretty sure.
No, it was Image. He was one of the Image founders.
Was it?
Yeah.
I'm pretty positive. Yeah, I think it was
still
Image.
is, because it's still one of the only ongoing, from the original run.
Completely misremembering.
Well, there was also the really good comic, The Lumberjanes. But I think N.K. Stevens is working that one too.
Yeah, it's Image.
There you go.
And then, of course,
Savage Dragon,
comics, which I've gotten into in the last year. They have some problems ongoing, but they've got some great content.
Hell, Archie Comics.
Yeah,
one of the top selling comics of all time. And you know what? One of the biggest distributors of comics is before they bought Marvel was Disney. Disney comics were huge internationally. Hell, they inspired manga. It was Daffy Duck Comics that inspired Osamu Tezuka to make Astro Boy.
All right.
To the customers, it all ran through these publishers, so now the health of the industry rests upon them. And unfortunately, for decades, smaller publishers attempted to replicate this model, which simply doesn't work long term unless you have what they have access to.
Now, another thing to point out, the important thing to point out is that when he's talking about the health of the industry, they're looking at comic book shops, which is something to be concerned about, and it is unfortunate that comic book shops close, but they also open sometimes too. But I mean, the context that they don't ever talk about with the closure of comic book shops is that brick and mortar shops and print book shops in general close all the time.
Exactly.
It's a changing industry. It's like I said, changing consumption, distribution, and that's just a product of it. And it sucks because I grew up going to comic book shops. It's one of my favorite memories of just being a kid going into comic book shops. And I hope that there's never a day that there's no comic shops around. But it's
heck, I miss regular bookstores, not Barnes and Noble giant mall bookstores, just regular old bookshops that are like, one room, you get some comic books in the corner, you get, fantasy in one little space. And, I miss that.
I finally found
I want to say one thing real quick. Chat is also calling me out in this one. I said Daffy Duck by accident. I meant Donald Duck, but you're right. It is Donald Duck comics that Disney was selling. But no, 100%. Bookstores have brick and mortar stores that are falling away. Barnes and Noble is one of the last ones that really have a big foothold in the American marketplace. But sorry.
But another point I just wanted to make is that he actually threw out a decent amount of information in the past 30 seconds. Didn't substantiate a goddamn thing.
No. He doesn't substantiate. Because facts, just simple, boiled down to their bare brass tacks facts, like this chart right here. He does not like this because it doesn't look good for his narratives. And, this could be the picture in the dictionary next to diminishing returns. And, and yet he acts like they're so successful. You go look at the community of the Ripverse, quote unquote, like on Reddit. You can look for yourself. There's like one guy that does a live stream every couple of days about this Ripverse, and he gets like 10 views per stream. And other than that, nobody's posting about the shit. Somebody comes around sometimes to troll. But I mean, there's no community, there's no organic, appreciation for the content of these comics. It's all just, it's, Glenn Beck has openly said for years that he wanted to, put resources behind different pop culture ventures to try to infiltrate pop culture with right-wing narratives, and it's pretty clear that's what he is for Glenn Beck when it comes to comics. And I imagine Glenn Beck's kind of fucking disappointed when you look at these sales.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh yeah, Albacore got released for sure, and it's uh-oh.
Yeah, I've covered Albacore.
Knocking stuff over in his kitchen. Sorry, what's up?
No, I was just pointing out that I've covered Albacore for sure.
Yeah,
we covered it. I will say Albacore and freaking Yaira are better than the 2 issues of Isom, but like that's such a low bar, such a low fucking bar. They all suck.
Yeah, I mean, any bit of context that you apply to any of these narratives, it starts to, crumble what the narrative is, what he's saying. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whatever angle you come at with and apply some kind of nuance to it, it's like, oh no, that starts to poke holes in the whole fucking thing. Yeah, Alpha Core is literally just like, here, wouldn't it be cool if there were superheroes that were just fascist cops?
Yeah,
that'd be cool, right?
We need more fascist superheroes, right?
I don't know. Did Anthony leave? Should we continue on with the video, or are you still there?
I'm not sure. I'm assuming he's going to be
out in the meantime.
Sure. You have already said that a few times, actually, Derek. You don't actually answer questions, though. You just talk around in circles.
I did not.
Video?
I expressly said, did I not?
Yeah, this is
This is Eric July's actual video. We has Muppets.
No, this is by the channel called the Rip-Off-verse, which
good.
does puppet videos about Eric July.
I was gonna say anything those edibles will kick in that quickly, but okay.
I'm to the point that what I said previously to that.
Okay, we're going off track again. My answer to what I think you're mumbling about is that I think your only issue with Miles Morales is that he's black. Right?
What I said was, and this is not exclusively to the point that I previously made that pertains to the subject matter at hand, which if you've been listening to the original statement that...
Good Lord, you really are an idiot. Okay, let's go back to the start here. So, so you've obviously read Amazing Fantasy 15, right?
You're changing the subject that correlates to...
Wait, you have read Amazing Fantasy 15, right?
I don't see how that has anything to do with all the...
Are you aware of Amazing Fantasy 15?
Your question isn't in good faith, so I don't have to...
Have you heard of Amazing Fantasy 15, Derek?
The question is, have you read Fantastic Fantasy...
Well, only a totally fake comic book fan, like someone who tells people to call him the Black Stan Lee, would not know the significance of Amazing Fantasy 15, especially in the context of this conversation or debate, whatever it is.
I am not obliged to, that is, to address a point that doesn't pertain to the subject that I previously stated.
Do you even know what Amazing Fantasy 15 is?
Does anybody know what it really is?
Have you ever read Amazing Fantasy 15?
Who do you think would win in a fight between...
Have you ever read Amazing Fantasy 15?
Have you seen Jurassic Park, Big Dinosaur?
Do you know what Amazing Fantasy 15 is, Derek?
Do you know what my favorite food is?
Have you ever read Amazing Fantasy 15?
Look at this funny rabbit.
Have you ever read Amazing Fantasy 15?
I'm Batman.
Interesting. So basically you absolutely cannot answer that question, can you?
What?
You're a fake comic nerd, Derek, and a grifter. You just sell bits of YouTube merch in the shape of comics. And you're also a noisy, low IQ moron who can't answer simple questions without melting down. Is that about the right description of the situation, Derek? Have I got that right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. How tall are you? How much do you weigh? What's your shoe size?
What?
Where was your grandparents' country of origin, huh?
Are you serious?
So for anybody that's like, what the hell is he talking about? Why is he answering like this?
It's like watching Meet the Feebles while on drugs.
It's barely exaggerated from what he actually said.
No, he was actually asking me that stuff, and I was just like, what?
The problem is this does sound a lot like how Eric July actually talks. That's the scary part about this. Like, audience of mine who has never seen Eric July talk, this is how he talks.
Yeah. See, I think I might have another
oh my
clip
God.
here we can look at about it. He definitely... So as this video, the puppets point out, he, like, after the debate was over, he went on for, like, 2 hours just talking shit because he was so upset that Bob had exposed him in a few different ways.
Okay, well, you've had me on this stream for 6 hours already. I'm tired and I have to wake up early in the morning, so I'm gonna...
Oh, I see. Running away, huh? Running away. Y'all gonna bounce now. Y'all gonna run off like a pussy, huh?
Listen as soon as I cut the feed. The first thing you're going to do anyway is carry on streaming on your own, shout and bark, and celebrate to your moronic subscribers that you've had some kind of fictional huge win, and generally lose your mind in public, live, right?
That's not anything I would personally do, not the kind of thing I'm even known to do. I'm not that kind of person.
Right, cool. Good night, idiot.
And another thing, this white bread motherfucker saw like, I'm a grifter, you're a grifter, y'all read some amazing bullshit. You divorced ass white as fuck. I bet you're overweight motherfucker. Look at me, look at me. Look at my fucking arms. I'm a strong man.
That's kind of what happens with all these debates, isn't it?
Cut off like the last 10 seconds, and that's pretty much what he did after the debate.
Well, I mean, that's what happened with Shad just now, like this past week with me. Like,
Yeah.
it's this, they all have the same playbook.
Yep.
They get their ass beat in a discussion, and then they have to carry on for like a half hour to 3 hours.
They have
Okay,
to cope so hard.
so on that same note, with Shadiversity debate recently, I released a reaction that was overly long, of course, and then he releases a half-hour discussion saying how I'm a liar and a grifter and I'm a dirtbag and the worst possible person in the world. It's the same concept. They play from the same playbook, just in different, the version might change slightly, but it's the same bullshit every single time.
Yeah, they can't actually address your point, so let me just call you some names and make up some shit about you.
Yeah, a friend of ours, Pop Counterculture is his channel. Ed, he made this quick edit that kind of just sums up how it went after the debate.
February 5th, 2023. Eric July debated organized chaos for 3.5 hours.
What do you mean new legacy care? Are you talking about knockoff versions? Is that what you're referring to?
While Bob went on with his life, Eric stayed on air for another 2 hours to declare himself the winner. This is what winning looks like.
I'm not gonna use aggression on you, but all I'm saying is people done got knocked the fuck out for a lot less. Don't let me go to a con and his motherfucking ass is there. You've left your parents or your children with a single mom. You left your children with a single fucking mom, divorced, fat, and out of shape, right? And white, right? And white, right? Right and white, right? Got this jackass in the chat. Here's this.
Accept the beat side.
Eric is so immature. This is how I think he says. Eric is so immature and insecure, resorting to fat jokes, making fun of his family situation, and threatening physical violence. You're an inch shorter than me, and I got more on you, but I'm built. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't no fucking, like, you see what I mean? You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm actually built. I'm built for this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not fucking like, this is a solid 215. You see what I'm saying? Right? Solid. Look at this. This is a solid 215. Right? I'm built like a goddamn brick.
He's built like a goddamn brick.
Yeah. Okay. There are ways to acceptably accept defeat. That's not one of them. The fact that he hasn't been laughed off the internet is impressive.
Kind of the wrong way. Yeah, when I know he's I'm right and he's white.
Spoiler, guys, I'm white.
He didn't delete it. What he does is he makes it just only viewable to his paid subscribers.
So when he was getting sued, people were pointing out, hey, he is like a bully online. That's when he took down the stream on his channel, didn't make it public anymore.
Yeah, that's right, because he did leave it up because it got more views than he'd gotten in like over a year, from what I remember. Like that debate got him hella views. Yeah. Eric, you can't just ask people why they're white.
Sai never changed. You're fantastic. Sai Scribbles, by the way, fantastic artist. I'm going to call her out right now. You got that going for you. and excellent at trolling people, especially if the names are Shad Brooks or Lily Orchard.
and to what we were talking about earlier with Bob asking about Blaze.
On you too?
And he what's up?
No, nothing. Another friend of mine's on stream on the chat.
Yeah, and Waltz Prominent fan is bringing up, yes, you can still find debate on my channel. I have clips of his meltdown afterwards, but not all of it.
So here's Bob asking about Blaze Media, in which he lies and
where you can see the tick. Yeah,
he does. Yeah, I've never seen him do this little neck thing that he does in any other context.
Okay. Glenn Beck pay you?
Glenn Beck doesn't pay me. Glenn Beck doesn't own Blaze anymore.
So how much? So how much does the Blaze pay you?
Blaze doesn't pay me that much. I'm only a video contributor. I only show up every once or twice at the most a week.
I mean, you got your picture. You got your picture on the wall. You must do something for him.
Yeah, because I'm a video contributor. Why wouldn't my picture be on the wall?
Well, that
everybody that shows up, even the contributors that contribute to Jason Whitlock's show, who only show up a couple of times, those guys are also pictured at the Blaze. What's the problem?
Your picture was like 4 or 5 spots away from Glenn Beck.
In my experience, whenever someone gets their picture on the wall at a company, that means they're employee of the month.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's like, well, everybody gets their picture on the wall. Really? I bet you there's full-time janitors that don't get their picture on the wall. What are you talking about?
5 people.
Yeah.
Blaze is not 5 people.
Yeah.
Like, the problem is that he realizes that being associated with Glenn Beck would ruin his idea of him being the small indie publisher that is just scraping by and just putting out good content for the world.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a clown is what he is. He's not talented at comic book creation. And look, I'm not talented at either. I haven't made a comic, so I can't speak to like the specific quality of how tough it is to make a comic, but I can say like I think I'd be more creatively driven, at least. If it failed, it would fail because it was still, trying to swing for the hits you can't make.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just swinging for the easy hits and making it and selling the ball he hit it with as much as possible. Well, I'm not sure if he's missing. He's making money, but he's selling for the cheap. He's hitting for the cheap seats. He's hitting for the easy hits he knows he can hit, and nothing else.
And the sad thing is he's doing performative bigotry for clicks, and as we can prove right here.
I love that. Yeah.
You have a million spider folk, which doesn't even make sense when you consider Peter's origin.
I define everybody that's not Peter Parker as an unoriginal Peter Parker.
Talking about Peter Darker.
Fun fact, Eric used to like the character, even saying he's more than just a black Peter Parker. But he changed his tune when he found out he could make more money pandering to racist comic book fans who hate Miles Morales.
You're just actively making shit up, ha ha ha.
Did you used to like him? Not judging or whatever. Just curious.
No.
Do you like Miles Morales then?
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some characters have been written decently that are of different races and have suited up in the suit of a hero or a version of that hero. One of the more obvious is Miles Morales as Spider-Man.
You're just actively making shit up, ha ha ha.
Miles Morales has his own background. This is far better than just simply making Peter Parker a black guy. Talking
shit about Miles Morales, I see, Eric July. I see how it is. Miles Morales, one of the best original Marvel characters in the last 10, 15 years. I see how it is.
Definitely one of the most popular.
I definitely think
I think that he probably would have to be the most popular of the last 10 or 15 years, right?
I'm thinking like it's either Miles Morales. Yep, it's probably Miles Morales because Kamala Khan, as much as I like Kamala Khan, she's not as popular as Miles Morales.
She might be number 2, but yeah, she's nowhere near Miles' standing. Nowhere.
Yeah, like they're both up there, but I think there's a clear division between the two of them. I can't think of anyone else that would really compare. Like Noel definitely doesn't, and even the old Marvel characters I'm thinking of too. We lost Dean.
Yeah,
Dean is gone.
Technical issues. It's all good.
Happens. Also, Crimson Ender. Crimson, you put a horrible image in my brain just now. How do you make these super chats like highlighted?
Oh, this guy.
There you go, right there. That's Krim. How fucking dare you, Krim? How dare you? How dare you? I just want to say it right now. How dare you, Krim? Put that image in my brain. A Shadiversity Lily Orchard fusion.
Oh God! I didn't even put that together.
Yeah. I bet you didn't, but now it's in your head. Now it's in there.
God.
Now you can't unsee it. Now you know my pain.
So my fucking VPN, I'm about to change VPNs, man, because that was fucking stupid.
Right? All the
VPN
horror of Shadiversity and Lily Orchard in one body.
God.
Right? How dare you, Krim? I love you, but how dare you? By the way, you should also see Crimson Ender's recent video on Wicked. He's doing a whole series on Wicked over the next year. You should do that if you're watching right now. It's quite good. Look up Crimson Ender's channel, and you get some good stuff there. Even if he's putting horrible images in my brain. I know Krim. I know you're Krim. I know how it is. I'm just using your full christened name on this wholesome family stream right now.
What is this? What?
This is drama.
Ooh.
Respond to allegations you were the deadliest shooter. The drill scene. What? I have no idea what you're referring to there. The deadly. I'm not sure. I don't get the joke.
I don't either. But
Shadiversity got
got
insecure and went ahead and made up some bullshit about you. I've never seen that tactic before. I don't know, but
I've seen it before with me. I get a lot of stuff made up about me. It's crazy. But I'll deal with it.
Interesting thing is it says Magneto, but it's not even Magneto on the shirt, so it's kind of deceptive. No,
who's on the shirt?
It's Magneto.
I was about to say it's not Magneto. What the hell?
I was saying, who else is there? I half expect to see Professor X on there or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh man, you're not really getting any better. You haven't gotten any better. I'm gonna be honest. Like you're still pretty bad.
This user was on multiple streams about the following the Shadiversity stuff. It was quite entertaining, but I can't say for sure if they really got anything there. Just Batman, with like a metal helmet.
Batman.
I'm Batman.
Yeah. Anyway, I said, do we want to continue on that video? I got to reload it now because I lost all my shit.
If you want to, I'm down for that. I'm down for making fun of Eric July some more.
Let's get to about 5.5 minutes in. See what happens.
But it's not just in one aspect. Let's first talk about the creator culture, and I know this is going to rub some people the wrong way. The American comic book creator culture is filled with egos and entitlement. It's less about the characters and their stories and more about them and their imprint.
Substantiate a goddamn thing.
Yeah,
well,
he's just saying a lot.
Dude, you want to talk about egos, Eric?
Yeah.
You want to talk about fucking... Okay.
The problem is he's saying these are big... The problem is he's saying these big claims. Those audience understands this is what he's trying to say, but he's not substantiating any of it.
No,
because it's all content that's made for people that already agree with him ideologically and already believe that everything is woke and bad. So you don't have to substantiate anything when that's your audience, right?
Exactly. But there is one thing he's touching upon that should be mentioned, that he doesn't understand what it is. But the manga industry kills its creators. It's a grindhouse industry.
That's true, but here's the thing about Eric is
I don't understand it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's an industry that chews up its creators and spits them out. Who did Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter? His body is permanently wrecked from debilitating physical injury, and his workload just pushes him further and further and further and further and further. It's horrible. It's terrible, terrible stuff. And of course, Kentaro Miura, who did Berserk, actually just died. Just died from overwork. His death can be attributed directly to him working so hard on Berserk, the manga.
Wow.
You got another you got a 199 super chat here.
Movie Bob plus Doug Walker equals the devil.
I was trying to figure out what that emoji was.
I love it.
I think there's more substantive value in Movie Bob's content than there is Doug Walker, but that's just me.
They're very different. I think Doug Walker doesn't take anything he's doing seriously. I think Movie Bob takes what he's doing very seriously.
Yeah.
and that leads to
sometimes he doesn't, which is kind of frustrating because he's like, yeah, sometimes he doesn't seem to give a shit as much as he does most of the time.
I will say I did see Movie Bob's Section 31 review, and while I overall agree with him on that movie, his takes on Star Trek overall, I do not agree with largely.
I think he needs to. I think Movie Bob needs to chill out a little bit. I don't like his review of. I know he follows me on social media, so I don't want to be too mean to him, but I did not agree with his review of Scream. I felt he really missed the mark in Scream quite a bit, and that really annoyed me.
Are we talking about the original?
The Wes Craven series as a whole.
Yeah.
He when Scream 4 came out, he reviewed the Scream franchise in a video, and that always bothered me deeply. I didn't like his opinions on it. He kind of dismissed it as like just teenage schlock when it's a lot more than that. Yeah, he fully dismissed.
That's a damn good franchise. It's not perfect by any means, but come on.
No. But it's really solid, I think, consistently. I think it's one of the more consistent horror franchises.
Listen,
he really missed the mark whenever we were in talks to have him on the show like over a year ago, and then that just fell through and he didn't get back with me. So he really missed the mark there. But he might as well burn in hell. No,
yeah, I can criticize Scream 3 quite a bit because I do think it's the worst one. But even that is not like, I won't go so far as to call it even bad. It just,
Well, Bob, I'll ask you this: would you rather watch Scream 3 or Halloween 6: The Curse of Michael Myers? In a heartbeat, you didn't
Scream 3.
Easy, right? You didn't think about that.
That's no question. No.
Would you rather watch Scream 3 or Alien Resurrection?
Alien Resurrection.
Easy.
Alien Resurrection for sure.
Oh, what the fuck are you talking about?
You're just being contrarian.
It is so messy and absurd that like I just kind of enjoy it. I don't know. I got
okay, that's fair, I guess. I'll get you that. Alien Resurrection is pretty goofy. I do like the and then they had good design with the newborn too. I'll give you that too.
Yeah, it's legitimately gross and creepy.
Oh yeah, I'll give you
the
that.
only other horror franchise I can think of that I would think is fairly consistent actually would be Evil Dead actually.
Well, I think Evil Dead's the best horror franchise. Like in terms of consistency, I think Evil, Scream, and the Chucky, I think, are really consistent across the board. Though Chucky more unevenly so. I think Chucky has more of a bit of a miss, but like I still think even the bad Chucky films are really good.
I mean, you gotta get it. Like Chucky is the only one that's had the main guy behind every one of them, right? Like, so even the bad one, the misfires are like at least it's coming from the guy who's trying to do his, what he thinks is best for his creation, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's the same creative crew. Hell, even the same makeup people across films. Like it was a documentary made about this one woman whose father was a makeup artist for the first Child's Play film. And then she got a career working on like, I guess, Seed of Chucky or a Cult or a Curse of Chucky, whatever it is. And like, she got her career thanks to Chucky. Like she grew up in the industry because her father did it. And then she got involved thanks to the Chucky films. So it was like a whole generation defining series. It's fantastic.
Well, we are almost halfway through this video. We can see how far.
As I alluded to earlier, they care more about praise and worship than they do their universes. It's one of the loud.
Like,
whoa!
What the fuck is he even talking about? That doesn't even make it like
the view, the likes and shit. That's the shit you guys always, Eric July and his group always focus on hardcore. Like, what?
That's you, Eric. That's you.
I want to share this again, just so so people keep it in mind that this is the direction of the sales of the Ripverse. So I mean, like, you shouldn't be talking about caring about sales, and what people think of it. Because I mean, it's just mostly projection. It really is. Like, he started coping whenever he lost like 17,000 subscribers in the last year and a half or something. Once he dipped under 500K was whenever he made a video where he seemed to be saying that he was going to quit doing YouTube, even though obviously he hasn't. But what he has been doing is trying to go back to the ground level of trying to build up a new audience essentially by making videos like this, where he's like, here's my general thesis. You know what I mean? And I don't know how well it's working for him, but
well, look, I'll say this, and I said it before, and I'll say it again. Eric July has less of a footprint on the fandom universe than Lily Orchard. Lily Orchard has more of an influence on fandom discourse over the course of years than Eric July ever did.
Yeah.
I think it's a fair statement. You know, what's Eric July's most popular video? It's a music video he did, right? Lily Orchard beat him twice. Easy. And I would say Lily Orchard didn't have a good influence either. But he acts like he's a big name figure. But the Lily Orchard regularly outpaces him. Even today, Lily Orchard outpaces Eric July.
Yeah, we get it. You've got a better nemesis than we do. Okay.
No, it's not a good thing. It's not a positive for either of them.
Industries when it comes to being inviting of new talent. Many are in this Mexican standoff, or they're waiting to stab each other in the back just to advance their own careers. Anybody that gains,
he just says shit that's like this really charged, narrative language of like, meta language kind of things. Like, oh, they're in a Mexican standoff. Wait, who? What the fuck are you talking about? You absolute fucking goon. Like,
if he says something that sounds tough and cool, you don't actually have to think about the fact that it means nothing whatsoever.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, backstabbing. We've seen more backstabbing from these guys than anything else lately.
Is he still fighting with Ethan Van Sciver?
He doesn't to respond directly to it because he knows he can't fucking win that fight. But yeah, Ethan still roasts him on a regular basis.
Yeah, he can't beat a fight with Ethan Van Sciver.
He
can't outpace Ethan Van Sciver.
Well, so that puppet video we watched, Ethan actually pays that guy to do some videos for him, including I think that one that with the Bob debate.
Oh my god.
So yeah, that's how bad Ethan clowns on him. He spends money to get this puppet guy to, Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm back for a moment. My cat knocked over a bunch of stuff in the kitchen, like an entire cabinet fell off the wall. So
oh god,
a cabinet fell off the wall.
Yeah, like they got above the cabinet, and apparently there was like a loose side, and it just spiraled from that. So it's pretty bad. So I'll probably head back there in a minute to finish picking it up. But
I would imagine the cabinet falling would distract you slightly from streaming on the internet.
Yeah.
Slightly.
What's up, Katie? How are you doing?
I was wondering where you got yours because I keep seeing it on your videos, but at the end, but I hadn't seen it in a video, so makes sense.
Momentum will be met with an onslaught of hatred. I speak from experience. Many think their way is the way, and anybody that does it differently is a threat. A lot of it stems from economic illiteracy, where people look at the market like a fixed pie, as if someone else's success attributes to their own failure. It's a very catty.
Wait, that's how he treats it, though.
That's how he fucking treats it, man. Yeah.
Well, a couple things, though. Like, the market, this whole fixed pie, not fixed pie thing or whatever is ridiculous. There is an overlap in sales. He's charging a premium for his comic book. So eventually somebody will sacrifice another book they'd buy to buy one of his books. So it is sort of a competitive market. I mean, that's his whole concept with this whole DC versus Marvel versus Ripverse thing versus manga. Like,
what the fuck has he actually said of any value whatsoever?
Yeah, Ethan's like, somebody said pie.
But he hasn't said anything. He's just showing cats. He's showing cats and pies. People like generally.
And you said something earlier that makes me wonder. We were talking about this stock footage. I wonder if he just got a premium account with like a stock footage company. He's like, I need to make a video to use all of the stock footage to make it worth it. So he just threw it all.
Yeah, it's word salad. This is definitely word salad for it's the aesthetic of expertise to people who are too fucking dumb and lazy to actually seek out expertise or know what expertise would sound like if they found it.
You know what he probably did? He probably knew that if he kept people on the video for 30 seconds ahead of time, it would draw people into the rest of the video. And he didn't give a fuck what came next. After 30 seconds, he's like, fuck it. Just put fucking cats on screen. They'll hold their attention for 5 seconds.
He's like jangling keys, man.
Exactly. Like, this is a nothing argument. There's nothing here to actually dissect. There's nothing to say. It's just, he's just fucking saying shit and going like, oh, well, it's like cats and pies. I'm like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? Give a single example that means anything.
Well, cats and pies are the example. Come on.
History. They make this far more difficult than what.
You're right. That's when you think about the fact that if he's taking shots at Ethan and Shane, then that does make some sense. That's who he's thinking of all the time. It's like that's literally really only who he thinks about. When he's talking about people that it's all about their ego and not about the comics and they care about the views and likes, he's coping because Ethan's fucking trash cast is constantly shitting on him and getting more views than his streams have gotten.
Yeah.
And Katie, I just want to say I bleed for you listening to hours of him.
Yeah, are you okay, Gene? Like, that's too many hours.
How much is he even getting from that though? Like,
his trash cast is doing really well. It's a really good. It's really good for him.
But it needs to be. Then turn around and pretend like this is just how it is. This is how it is. It's tough out there. No, you're just being an ass and overcompensating and treating this like it's the cool kids club. I don't doubt the Japanese.
What's amazing is that he's accurately describing Ethan and himself.
Well,
it's fucking crazy.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not impressed by how many views even Ethan's getting with his streams. Have you looked at the views lately for it?
Yeah, well, the thing is that he looks more at like super chats versus other super chats and how much.
I guess that's fair. So I'm looking at this going
because he's not actually making a comic, so he's got to make money with super chats.
Yeah, because I was gonna say he's getting like less views than I do on my streams.
Yeah, well, the other thing is that Eric July and Az stream like once a week on their little podcast, and it's clear that Az this channel, a channel that is lower in subscriber count than Eric, gets more views on the podcast when they do it on his channel than when they do it on Eric's channel. It's really weird.
That is strange. That's a very strange. I guess the audience what they're drawn to, but I'm
this
looking
is an excellent point because the video is now no longer about what he was talking about. It's shrunk.
Yeah.
In scope. The thing that he's talking about. It started out and he's talking about the greater comic book industry and manga versus. And now he's just shrunk the scope to just talking about a couple of guys in Comicsgate that piss him off and hurt his feelings. Well,
it's become very personal, like is the problem.
Yeah.
Well, even looking at this, like what is he talking about? He's talking about a bunch of cats and a bunch of fighting and egos. Mm-hmm. And he hasn't mentioned a single example of a comic where you can cite an example of, this writer wanted to change the character. Like I'll give an example. Recently I did a video about Mary Sue's where I had to look at Literature Devil. He's a Comicsgate guy.
Yeah. That channel.
I've had exchanges with him.
he's a piece of work, from what I understand.
Yeah.
But anyway, he did a video specifically about the X-Men. We talked about Kelly Sue DeConnick. He just talked about her for the whole time. And that was a bad video. I didn't like it. That was terrible. That was very poorly phrased. But at least it focused on like a specific author, specific things that she said, and gave examples consistently focusing on the core. And I don't want to give him props or anything. I don't want to give Literature Devil any props here, but I'm saying like at least he gave a concrete example kind of connected to his thesis. We are somehow getting gargled toothpaste water of an argument here. This is the equivalent of the foam someone spits out of their mouth when brushing their teeth. There's no substance, nothing to chew on, and it leaves you kind of feeling you've regurgitated something that was used already.
So it just kind of reminded me of this just because we brought them both up. So Literature Devil did do a review of Isom, and he was way more favorable to it than normal. But his overall review, and this is his word, the book is serviceable. Which is, fun fact, not great. If you're a writer, that's not great. Yeah. And I pointed that out, and like, of course, Eric July's fans were like, "What are you talking about, man? That was a good review. Well, you don't know what you're talking about." It's like serviceable.
That's like mediocre. That's like mediocre in a fancier word.
That is him using a term to say it's shit, but I don't want to call it shit.
Yeah, it's like I can't, in good faith, say anything better than this.
Yes.
Well, that's kind of like with Shad. Like before with his video, I found he cited Daniel Green, who is a legitimately really good fantasy book critic. He's a writer. He's done some good stuff. And Daniel Green, when Shadow the Conqueror, Shadiversity's book first came out, he was like, "Oh, it's an acquired taste. It's fans of a certain type of genre will like it. Because at the time, Shad hadn't really revealed himself as the full right-wing chud that now we know he is." And so I think at the time he was kind of like being friendly to a fellow fantasy-focused YouTuber, similar circles. But he reviewed it later on, going like, "Yeah, I hate Shad's political views. The book I have no feelings on it. I forgot half of it already. Give me the sequel, bottom tier." And Chad was like, yeah, this book, he hasn't changed his opinion on my book since he first reviewed it. I'm like, well,
then he goes on I saw that part because he went on for like 20 minutes talking about the sales of his book and stuff. I've gotten this many sales, and look at all these positive reviews I've gotten, and it's like
terrible. Okay. It's like, dude, just fucking just take the L, Like, listen to your critics.
One thing about Eric is he loves to call characters like Miles Morales a token. Anybody that actually knows what word means, it literally could not apply to Miles Morales, because a token, in summary, is a character that, if removed from the story, it would not change the story whatsoever.
Exactly.
Good luck doing that for Miles Morales.
Yeah, exactly. You can't. But this is a clip from Shark 330 was doing a scavenger hunt trying to find where Eric actually did define token, because most of the time when he brings it up, he says, I've already made a video where I defined that a long time ago, and he won't actually say what he means by it. So Shark went on a fucking hunt, like, where's the video where he actually defines it? And this is the moment he finds that.
We've done it.
Done many different videos talking about the concept of tokenization. I figured I'd do a dedicated video explaining what exactly it is and the issues that stem from it. Instead of going back and forth with some brainlet in the comment section, just send them this video and call it a day. There wasn't even a Webster's dictionary entry for tokenism when I first started using it in videos. I do not care.
There wasn't a Webster's, maybe not, but there was definitely a fucking, internet urban dictionary definition for it.
I would say the Oxford English Dictionary should have it.
If you personally think that it is, or that you think I should use a different term, not important. So let me define tokenism first and foremost in this context.
Wow, what a postmodernist. Words don't matter? Crazy.
Tokenism is the gender, race, or sexuality change of a pre-established character. We call this tokenism because it's usually only done one direction, and it's purposeful and with intent. Once that tokenism occurs, we call that
manifestation. No, doesn't make any sense. Because, no, that's dumb. That's not what? No.
Yeah.
That would make any sense, because tokenism was originally used to describe original characters created, not pre-established characters. Like the token black friend. Not a pre-established black friend. It was a character made to have no influence in the plot, just to bounce ideas off of. Like, what? That's not even like a good redefined element, because it doesn't apply to half the uses of the word token ever. That's so dumb. That's like that. About to have a conniption fit here.
So I mean, I have a better image that it would kind of depict, a token as in a character that you remove from the context, and he's the minority that you remove it, and literally nothing changes. Would be. See, like nothing changes if you remove this token character. So,
got the break here.
And it's purposeful token. Once that tokenism occurs, we call that manifestation a tokenization, and it doesn't matter if there's a supposed mantle at play.
Okay. So, all right, okay, it makes sense. Okay, now it all makes sense. My original definition of what his definition of tokenism is correct. It's just when a character is now different and he doesn't like it, and he wants to devalue the opinion of people who he doesn't like because they like a thing that he doesn't. All right, good to know. We've done it. Based in epic build. So this, and I think, I don't know, I just think this is really funny. Pick a word, make up a definition for it that nobody else uses, then get mad when other people try to correct you on the word, then say the word doesn't matter, but then call them dumb for not agreeing with your definition of the word, because that's how you use the word, I guess.
100%. Nailed it. What you got? Go for it. Oh,
I don't think his definition makes much sense.
No, I don't think so.
I will say that, and that would be the extent of my word choice for the time being.
Well, we still got half this video left. You might say something that makes sense here.
These folk have their share of the same. It's just not as prominent. And I think that's why a lot of the aspiring new artists are more manga inspired in their art styles. Countless amount of people have unfortunately seen what I've had to endure, for example, and they've been turned away from being creators.
What was that, Anthony?
Can you go back to the artwork for a second?
Well, while I'm here, rewind it a couple seconds.
What the fuck is
that?
that?
A lot of the aspiring new.
Who made this? Every 30 years, the Almighty and the Mega God sent in 2 heroes to protect the Earth. 1 male, 1 female. Perfectly balanced and perfectly in sync with each other. Together, their job was to live among the humans and protect them at all costs, using the powers that were bestowed over them.
The Almighty and the Mega God.
That's terrible.
Cool, that's a
that
cool
is the dumbest shit I've seen.
Well, I agree. My point was simply going to be that this stuff does inspire each other. It's not like, manga exists in like a fucking bubble and can't get influenced by American. It influences each other, and acting like it's only one way is a weird
Can I just say though that, like, as someone who doesn't really read manga, I do look at this image and think sure, it's maybe inspired by manga, but that doesn't mean, like, it's terrible. This is terrible. Look at the fingers on the left hand of that female character, and then look at the hand on the one that's getting its head exploded. I think the one holding or was holding an axe. And it's just like, do they think that manga is an excuse to just draw shitty? Is that why they're inspired by it? Is that, I don't know.
I hate everything about this.
It's bad, really bad.
I wish for a better tomorrow, but no, it will never come. Staring at this.
For a better tomorrow for everyone except whoever drew this.
I've lost faith in the productivity of humanity.
I have no doubt that this is not like an actual, manga artist. This is definitely some, I don't know, some dipshit that just, and somehow Eric thought this was a good example to use.
What's with the shoulder? What's with their shoulder? What is that?
Artists are more manga inspired in their art style.
This one's marginally better, but like.
But what is he doing? He's
I feel like he's just pulling up crap.
Yeah. Like, what is that? What kind of punch is that? That's like a punch. It's like a, like the limpiest.
I mean, is the point supposed to be kind of like he's just like relaxing and then punching?
He's stretching. He's not even punching.
Yeah.
Boom, when you punch, your body would not go away from the direction you're punching like that.
He's leaning away from his own punch.
Right.
Yeah.
Punch dab.
This is really terrible. Like, this is like actually terrible. Like, I'm not an artist.
Listen,
I don't want to pretend I'm an artist, but
he had to find panels that made Ripverse look good. Okay.
Right.
It took him hours.
Arm is like his the back of his arm is so short. His fist is bigger than his forearm.
So we gave him a chance. Any mods over on Ant's channel, if you want to go ahead and get rid of that, What Time Is Love, we gave him all the chances to get better at trolling, and he hasn't stepped up.
Oh, I got it.
And the only reason it matters is because new people come in and then they start getting, pulled in by his bullshit, and then
it's okay. I got you covered there. I'll take it.
Countless amount of people have unfortunately seen what I've had to endure, for example, and they've been turned away from being creative.
By the way, after the debate with Bob, he melted down for like we said, a couple hours after the debate, but then he made a video where it was literally called, what was it? What we endure.
What we endure. Yes.
Similar to my struggle, in my opinion. And it was all about, him and Jeremy Griggs and all these other guys, and what they endure as content creators, and the kinds of hate that they get and stuff like that.
I think the people he grouped together, it was himself, obviously, Nerdrotic, Critical Drinker, and Razorfist, strangely enough, which felt kind of out of left field.
Isn't Razorfist like the groomer? Isn't he like a groomer of some kind?
Last week,
yeah.
Covered how he seems to. Videos on my channel, you can check that out.
Essentially, how they're all victims of people like me. Honestly, me specifically, because that video is actually about me.
Really just came off.
You're just that much of a bully, huh?
Yeah, I'm a jerk.
But I mean,
another pissed you off too much.
The utility of making that video, we decided, because this is what happened, and I know he had to have known this would happen, by calling on all these other creators with large platforms and audiences, and then naming us specifically in the video, Bob, and then his group around him. we got bombarded pretty fucking hard by, quite a few people for a good couple of weeks. We did a whole stream just looking at our filtered comments to show what kind of shitbags were showing up to us. And yeah.
Oh, 100%. It's gonna be a lot of those are huge channels,
Yep.
Like, I think back to the Star Wars Theory, Star Wars Explained debate from a few months ago.
Oh God, yeah.
Like, I'm not sure if they're still getting hate over that, but they were getting like a lot of threats just for like their fairly mild opinions, because Star Wars Theory made a whole discussion about like Nerdrotic and critical drinking around himself.
Yeah, that whole thing with Star Wars Explained was a travesty, to be honest.
It was. I remember going over on stream over the whole thing. Thinking I didn't look at the drama at first. Thought like, oh, this is gonna be like there's some inkling to the story. There's like some element that's worth discussing, and it just turned out to be a big, empty, hollow heat vacuum.
Yep,
I hated it.
They've reached out to me and explicitly told me that. This means less innovation, which is what this industry really needs. But enough about that. Let's get into some solutions. I did a video titled The Economic Illiteracy of the Comic Book Business. Please go watch it. It's an essay where I break down the economics of the American industry and how it always was on thin ice. One of the benefits of having the big two as they were was that it almost acted as a welfare state for many creators. They're the only ones that could operate like that, and they weren't.
You heard it right here. Eric July is pro welfare state.
But it doesn't make any sense because the indie scene was always big. ElfQuest was a thing. There was Image for at least 30 years. There was an indie alternative to Marvel and DC. And before that, it was Love and Rockets isn't Marvel or DC. Pretty big indie comic there.
Yep.
As profitable as you think. I bring this up to say there needs to be some sort of economic revolution if people are going to thrive. Trying to copy the traditional comic book distribution and pricing model is silly for two reasons. One, it never actually worked as far as profit.
So that's interesting that he's openly saying that trying to copy their distribution model is a bad idea, because he doesn't. He does not do their distribution model, and yet he will compare his numbers to a monthly, Marvel comic sales or whatever. When it's like, okay, you did a 3-month campaign pre-sale, and you made, a couple of $1 million for one issue, and including the merch, of course, like half of that total is including the merch you sold. And then you'll compare that to like an recent issue of Hulk or something like that obviously doesn't make a couple of $1 million per issue. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think that he's like proving that the Ripverse is doing better or whatever. And it's like, he doesn't mention the very clear distinctions in the publication distribution models, but yeah, they don't do digitals.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Comicsgate, Ripverse, they don't fucking produce digital comics. Can you believe that?
No, they only work
in today's age. That's wild.
Well, they're very exclusively interested in what was going on in the 90s because it's a nostalgia-driven industry.
Yeah.
The problem
they're afraid that they won't get every dollar that they feel they're owed if they, relinquish it to digital or something like that. That somehow
100%. Like, the problem is that they're looking at the industry as though it's simply what it was in the 90s, and if Marvel and DC just focus on the consumers more, that they'll get those physical printings back into motion, and not that the entire market shifted and that they want to have the convenience of looking up a comic on their phone and formatting it for the phone. Because let's be honest, a web comic is formatted very differently than a floppy comic is. Panels are laid out differently. It's not visually the same style. If they just jumped to Webtoon, they wouldn't have success because, no one would read it. It's not well made for that kind of stuff.
Well, by the way, we don't want to discourage anybody from reading Ripverse. If you want to find out if it's something you might like yourself, there's actually websites where you can read it for free.
Like 4chan.
Yeah. I mean, I'll show you some links in a minute, but like, this is, we got some scans, because obviously there's no digital versions, but there are scans around. You can take a look at this high quality stuff, this innovative art.
This is what he's going to war with Marvel and DC with. This is his best foot forward.
Yeah, in like this room, it changes shape and everybody changes like positions between panels. It's kind of crazy.
So, Sai, I know you're in chat still. I can see your face. How bad is the art here? How bad is the art presented, Sai? I know you're there. I know you can hear me.
It's bland. It's like these are figures that, like, I can't draw a human figure that would look this serviceable, to use a word, but it's also just like bland as shit, and it's lifeless. There's like no actual, even whenever there is an action happening, it doesn't feel like there's any action happening.
Well, there's no facial expressions. They all have like generic same face syndrome. Like, and by same face, I mean half their eyes are covered in shadow. None of the colors are distinct. It's all very fading into each other. Nothing stands out. I hate it, and I think it should burn in a ditch.
Well, here, I'm gonna cut you off here, Dane, because this is a page that actually reveals one of Isom's powers. Can you spot it? It spoils one of his powers.
What Ison's? What powers? The power of teleporting someone into your fist after you punch them further away.
Yes, that's one. And then the second one is changing which hand he's holding you up with between panels.
Oh my god. Oh my god. How do you
It's a unique
that
power.
up? But his body's not even turned the same. Also, what's with those stairs? What's going on here? One second.
In case people are curious, we can flip a little bit forward to see the best action scene ever. This is high quality shit. So they're charging. You know, this guy disrespected Isom earlier, so Isom's gonna go kick his butt. Here we get the big epic collision, and then something happened. I don't know.
Something happened between those panels where one day he'll release a comic that tells us.
Yeah,
it'll be...
we'll have a delayed scene released, and we'll figure out what happens. It's really it looks like it's epic.
Yeah.
You know, and I have to wonder if it's misprint pages, because it almost feels like this. It should be this page and then this. And it still doesn't forgive this page with the crossing the 180-degree line, but like. Yeah, this is not the order it was published in. It was published with this and then this. So like they charged and then they missed and slid away and then they charged again. $35 comic book.
Plus 35 plus.
Yes. Yes, and that was it. This is the
Sorry.
So oh, well, you weren't here, Anthony, so I will show you this. So this is a big action scene in Isom. So these two are charging each other. All right. Are you ready for the next panel or next page?
Yep.
Yeah, one day we'll figure out what happens.
Wait, what? Hang on, go back to second.
Yeah, here's this panel. You know, big clash. Obviously, gonna
it's
happen.
easy to miss what happens if you don't pay attention, because
and they skid backwards.
Yeah. So I'm guessing they miss, and then it's an epic fight.
They're not good at fighting, but this is inspired by manga, right?
Yeah, apparently.
Well, okay, but what about the motivations for Isom, as you asked him about?
Yeah.
So Bob had read and reviewed Isom, which was what started the whole thing of Eric wanting him to come on and debate him. One of the things Bob had criticized was the fact that Isom doesn't have any clear motivation, except, well. So that when the comic opens up, and this is the number one issue, right?
Yeah.
Opens up, Isom is just punching a heavy bag, being a badass out in the rural Texas somewhere. And then he's apparently used to be a superhero. He's not anymore whenever we meet him. We don't know why. We don't know what his powers are. We don't know anything.
God, there's so many pages to this.
He gets a phone call from his sister who asks him to look for this girl that's like the daughter of a friend of the family. And he says no, he doesn't want to. He doesn't care. Then eventually he does, because essentially his sister guilts him into it.
Well, this is up with this page.
So I was asking to just give me a character motivation for Isom. Why does it go? Why does he look for Jasmine?
Because his sister asked to ask him to do it.
All right. So why does he say yes?
Because he cares about his family, specifically considering that this is a family friend. And he knows that his mother would chew his ass out in the event that's all explained in the text.
So he's literally just looking for this girl because his mom would chew him out if he didn't?
Yes.
I think that's just as good as Amazing Fantasy 15.
Yeah, which is how the Amazing Fantasy thing came up, by the way, was he was trying to get him to understand a character motivation, not like literally the thing in the plot that propels him out of his house, but like what is his motivation for doing anything, right? And he didn't know what he meant by that. And he said, so Bob was like, okay, well, let's just go with Amazing Fantasy 15, assuming self-styled expert Eric July would know what that comic book is. And that's where that moment came from.
How is Lily Orchard a better writer than Eric July?
I mean, yeah. How indeed?
This is bizarre to me. And very disturbing, I might add.
Yeah.
I'm deeply concerned for the state of Comic State's writing quality. If that's what they can come up with.
Well, they're not sending their best.
It's below the belt, but it's accurate, Cy, and you know it.
I am going to have to get going here pretty soon. I don't know.
Yeah, I was just thinking I should probably wrap up. But guys, I will be live tomorrow for sure. 5 o'clock.
And thanks for being on, man.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Anthony.
It's my pleasure. I'm just enjoying this burrito as we're wrapping up here.
You're eating, and I'm like, man, I'm hungry.
My spouse was like, Anthony, if you don't eat something, I'm gonna throw something at your face.
Is that a Danish burrito or
no? It's a Chipotle burrito. It's
okay.
The spiciest one I always get the spiciest one they have because I like spice.
Oh, that's what I
remember
like
the Danish burrito that we learned about that me and Bob made.
Oh God, I forgot about that stupid fucking burrito.
Good.
Right, that one. Was it a fucking tortilla with like dipped in water? Was that the one you talked about?
Round
I didn't even think of that one.
In the video upload of that where you were on with us and we looked at that, I actually put at the end that you murdered Turf Nation, and that's why he's not on the show anymore.
I did. Yeah. I got him.
Like
they put him in a burrito.
Later, Anthony Gramuglia unfortunately murdered.
Poor Turf. We will remember.
Put him in a good burrito too, with like some like little roasted peppers and some hot sauce. There you go, and some guac.
I mean, that seems like a bunch of extra stuff, man. When you really just if you got some water and some oats, just wrap it up.
The water is so spicy.
To audience that's watching, there's plenty of you. Thanks for watching. You guys have been great as well, and please subscribe to all the channels that are below in the description over here on my channel, on Organized Chaos channel, on Eric Debunk's channel. There's multiple channels of multiple creators do excellent work, including Ant. But you guys already know that. You know Ant, but like there's plenty of other people that make good content that are a lot of us are speaking against this kind of bad faith propaganda bullshit agenda driven stuff, right-wing agenda driven stuff that seeks to devalue the media that you like, and so subscribe, check us out, and we do this every Wednesday, so hope to see you back.
That's what I was to say at this point.
Nothing else? Okay. Well, this is what we can go out on then. How about this?
Let's check out the quote tweets. Y'all really bought that shit butt ass comic book. I'm crying. It's crazy people think this guy is anything but a libertarian scam artist. This is some of the worst paneling and framing I've ever seen. They break the 180-degree rule twice on the same page. How do you pull that off? The 180-degree rule states that you keep the camera on one side of the characters. Imagine a line through the center of the characters and do not cross the line. The 180-degree rule is meant to help viewers understand where things are in the scene. They trying hard to defend this, talking about, bro, it's a perspective switch. Crazy how the guy that's only known for being a racist pick-me and complaining about woke Marvel and DC probably made the worst indie comic of all time. Y'all donated money to the guy that can't even choreograph a fight scene well in a comic book. Missing a whole ass Clash panel. Character positions are inconsistent, which interrupts panel flow. No sense of movement, and everything looks still. Remember,
I'm built like a goddamn brick.
How do you do, fellow kids?